Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 209. We've got Robert with us from UK to talk about another UFO case. And better kick off the intro and music. So Robert just got an alert on his phone.
That's us.
That's us. It's now going live. Welcome to the Out There channel. Got someone in the side. Here we go. Renee, how's it going? Long time no see. Hopefully it's sounding alright. Mr. Lenny, how's it going? Going down to the base. They're storming Area 51. Going down. Hello. Hello. Good to be back. So, yep. Be civil on the side and avoid the hardcore swearing. And it's good to have the regulars show up for another live stream. Hopefully we get some more newcomers and join us. Better pause that and switch screens, better I? There's the desktop. So we're fully operational, as in the Star Wars line. So we got John on screen. I don't come on screen just to save a wee bit of CPU and all that sort of business. I mostly do the presentation and all that sort of business. So we got some more red-eyed alien story coming up by the looks of it. So whereabouts are we going
good
to?
One, I believe.
Yeah. Well, whereabouts are we going to tonight, Robert?
Central Brazil, Virginia, 1996. UFO crash.
Yeah, guys, so if we get any audio clipping or crackling with Robert, let us know. I think we've got it solved now, but it can go wrong. So I better type up the welcome message here. I know we started a wee bit early, just in case. It's an unsocial time for anyone in America, though. Channel live stream 209. And we're looking at... Oh, I'm not even sure how to spell it, but I'll just say UFO case Brazil will do.
Sure.
Cover up and aliens. Sounds pretty good. Alright, there we go. So how's everybody been? Hope you've been well. I suppose everyone's freezing their butts off, apart from people in Australia and New Zealand at the moment. So yeah, we're going into summer, you're going into winter. What's your temperature there lately, Robert? Because normally you get a bit cold in the wells near the coast there, didn't you?
Yeah, it's not so much the temperature; it's the chill factor with the wind going, the wind and the rain going sideways.
Oh yeah, sounds terrible.
Yeah, so even though it says it's like +2, it actually feels like -6.
Yeah, we get that in New Zealand, especially Canterbury Plains. The wind just whips up. The winds, west winds are good because they come from over the Alps from Australia, and it's nice like a hairdryer. It's like standing in front of a hairdryer, this big hairdryer. We get the hot winds, but if you get the sun at the same time, it dries you out. It just bakes you. But if it's like a overcast day and you got the hot winds, it's pretty good. It's like standing in a big what do you call it, wind tunnel, but it's all hot air. So
Anyway, this is no weather show. Let's get on with the case.
Yeah, we're just waiting for people to show up. I think we've got a few to go with now. We've got some pictures here of the location. Looks like they put a water tank, I think it is, in the city to honour the sighting, a bit like Kecksburg, I suppose. There's Kecksburg, speaking of the devil. So wherever there's been a big UFO incident, they often put these plaques and statues, don't they? You got one with the UK case. So what's that one called? The Venison Forest one?
Yeah, Bentwaters, yeah. Old Rendlesham Forest, absolutely, yeah. It was 2 bases, wasn't there?
Yeah. So we're going to this location here in South America. I'll just zoom out a wee bit here. Make sure it's working. Oop, it's lagging. So yeah, I think everybody should know where South America is. And just below the United States there, next to Africa. And of course some way over here. Above the Antarctic, down way over here. And Robert's way over here. So look, amazing technology. We've got someone from the top of the world and someone from the bottom of the world doing a presentation. So yeah, here's the city. We're going to zoom down to where the incident happened. And I think it's fairly built up, isn't it? So it's populated.
It's kind of rural on the outskirts as well,
Oh yeah, it is too. But look how dead set is there.
It's not particularly built up at all.
I don't know, it looks pretty dead set. It looks like a few million people. But yeah, there's a lot of fun.
I think the population of Virginia is about 111,000. I checked it,
Is that all? It looks fairly big. But
yeah,
it's a lot of...
honestly, mate, it's sparsely populated.
It's got a lot of farmland around it by the looks of it. So yeah. So we got some information here. Just start reading out the basic story and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure, we need to get on with it. It's quite a lot to go through, mate.
Yep. So just read the title to start with.
Yeah.
The 1996 Varginha UFO episode, a hoax, hysterics, or a cover-up.
Ooh, mystery. Well, that worked alright.
Yeah, cool.
He alleged sightings of alien creatures in Varginha, Brazil in January 1996, for a time, captured the interest and imagination of much of the international media. Even more so when apparent witness statements claimed Brazilian military personnel had taken the extraterrestrial into their custody. Further claims soon surfaced of an apparent crash of a UFO, one which killed several of the occupants and forced those who survived to flee from the ruins of the crippled vehicle.
So there's the alien.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how many...
That depiction came from the 3 girls that witnessed this the day after, or the earlier hours after the incident.
Did they actually say it had red eyes, though?
Yes, they did.
So that's very similar to the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins with the red eyes, isn't it? And the Mothman.
A little similar, Paul, but not the same for sure.
Oh yeah, it's not flying. It hasn't got the wings or whatever. But yeah, just carry on.
The Brazilian authorities have always steadfastly denied any involvement in the case. However, some researchers have continued to dig away at the claims, even when one of the witnesses allegedly admitted they had concocted the story. And, on this occasion, these suspicious researchers might be correct to pursue their interest. To some, this sudden retraction by one of the initial witnesses to the events in the opening weeks of 1996 is just the latest in a long list of efforts to discredit those who wish to investigate these claims, and in turn, distance themselves, and the truth, from the public. The South American continent is a hotbed of UFO activity and has been for a long time, and the incident in Varginha remains one of the most well-known and controversial. Of all the UFO researchers who have investigated the incident, leading UFO author Timothy Goods is one of the better communicated. He would dedicate an entire chapter to it in his book Unearthly Disclosure, published in 2000, which was, relatively speaking, in the years immediately following the incident. Before we look at the account in detail, check out the short video below. It features A.J. Jeevan testifying at a citizen's hearing about the apparent crash and recovery.
Now, not to get...
Jeevan had a listen, Paul. Jeevan had a lot of clout, because he was a Brazilian lawyer that looked into this case. So yeah, there was a citizen's hero, and it's kicked up a hell of a fuss. It made worldwide news at the time.
Mm-hmm. I just want to...
Timothy Good also done a chapter on I've actually read the chapter, and he actually had an interview with one of the surgeons that apparently autopsied one of these creatures.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out Timothy Good's not to be mixed up with Corey Good.
Oh, good God, no. Hell no. Timothy Good would be around about 76, 77 now. He's a UK researcher. He's famous for his book, Above Top Secret, which was considered to be a Bible at the time of ufology.
Right. So
it was actually the first book that Richard Dolan actually read.
Right. So he was American.
Which got him into the subject.
He's American, situated in what state was Timothy in?
Timothy Good, I just told you, he's a UK researcher.
Ah, right. So he's not like Nick Pope that's gone to America then.
No.
All right. Okay,
I think he still lives in the UK, Paul, as far as I know.
Okay. So, in case people out there are new to the topic, it's best just to let them know who we're talking about.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, we'll just read out this next chunk then and see how it pads out.
Yeah, it's from
a demon-like creature huddled against an abandoned building. On the afternoon of the 20th of January 1996, at a little after 3:30 p.m., 3 young girls were walking together in Santana, in the north of Varginha. Sisters, Lillian and Volquiria de Silva, 16 and 14 respectively, and 22-year-old Keishia Xavier, came to an open and vacated plot of land and a most remarkable sight. In front of them was a strange, demon-like creature, huddled against the wall of an abandoned cinder-block building. Its skin was a leathery brown color, and it seemed to have a triangular-shaped head with large red eyes. Its limbs appeared much too small for its body, with an estimated height of 2.5 feet. As the trio remained where they were, unable to take their eyes from this bizarre creature, they noticed how it appeared as frightened as they certainly felt. They would later report how it appeared to crouch lower against the wall of the building, almost in an attempt to escape their gaze. After a moment, the 3 girls turned and ran back to the main street. They would continue at full pace until they reached the teenage sister's home. It would take around 20 minutes for the ensuing situation to reach a level of calm in order that the account was understood. Keishia, along with the sister's mother, would then make arrangements with a neighbor to return to the spot where they witnessed the strange creature. By the time they returned, however, the creature was no longer there. There was an impression on the grass where it had sat previously. There was also a distinct and strong smell of ammonia. This, incidentally, is an aroma noticed in the details of multiple close contact reports.
That's interesting, because last time we did a case, they were talking about sulfur smell, which is different.
Sulfur and ammonia could easily be mixed up, and ammonia has been reported many times in the past with alien creatures. So those 3 girls now take this into account as well. They were 14, 16 and 22. So they weren't children as such, were they? A lot of people have them down as these little children seeing this. Well, not really children, are they?
Well, not according to our country's age requirements, but in America, anything 18 and less is classed as a child. I guess.
I'm not really sure about South America. I'm sure their reasoning would be different, but they tend to grow up a little bit quicker in those parts of the world.
Yeah.
It's a harder life.
Mm-hmm. So, anything else you want to say about that sighting at all? About the
Not
alien?
at this point, Paul.
No.
Not at this point, no.
Now we got the UFO crash coming up. So,
yeah, just go down to the video. Ideal. Whoa.
I think I got the chunk, haven't I?
Yeah. What's that?
Cool.
Done?
That's working alright today.
A UFO crash in Varginha. Although they didn't see the creature, someone else had. An elderly woman and her granddaughter had heard the three young girls' screams when they had first spotted the strange figure. Although the girls themselves had already turned and left the area by the time the two witnesses arrived, the grandmother and young girl remained and discreetly watched events unfold. They would claim that a vehicle from the city fire department arrived. Firemen would quickly secure the creature before driving away as if nothing had happened. The encounter would soon find its way to journalists and UFO researchers. One, in particular, Ubirajara Franco Rodriguez, would investigate further. His notes speak of his belief in the three girls' sincerity, and furthermore, he would find more corroborating witnesses. Perhaps most interesting of these was a bricklayer Enrique José de Souza, who claimed to have seen a fire department vehicle at the location of the alleged sighting, although the time he claimed to have seen this was earlier than the time the three girls saw the creature. An even more explosive witness would come forward in the shape of local resident, Aureline Augusta. She would claim to have been woken just after 1 a.m. in the early hours of the 20th of January by the sound of bellowing cattle on a local farm several miles away. When she went to her window, she could clearly see the cattle stampeding in agitation, and she could see why. Above them hovered a submarine-shaped, brightly glowing object. She quickly woke her husband. As both stared from their window, they could make out grey smoke rising from one side of the craft. It suddenly began to move, but did so in a rocky stop-and-start motion. It seemed obvious to both that the craft was damaged in some way.
So, that sounds like a cigar cylinder type UFO?
Yeah, depending on the angle of the sighting, of course. And the cattle bellowing as they did is a pretty classic side effect of UFOs, isn't it? So yeah, that's interesting indeed.
1 a.m. Generally they sleep at that time, so yeah, that would be strange. Unless there's a bright light that sort of disturbed them, I suppose. So what's this video here?
No, not worth playing.
Okay. I thought there might be some eyewitness accounts.
No, it's a little bit of video there, but any of the people listening can go back and watch that some other time.
Did you repost the thing? I think you did, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes,
cool.
I did.
Cool. I didn't have to remind you. On to the next bit.
More than one creature on the loose. In Brazil, the fire department comes under the control of the military police. This, in itself, makes the claims of the fire department taking the creature into their control perhaps more credible. It would further come to light in the records of the Varginha City Fire Department of a call at 8:30 a.m. on the 20th of January. According to the details of the call, a strange creature was roaming around in the woods on the outskirts of the city, not far from the site of the apparent apprehension later that afternoon. By the time the fire service arrived at the location, the records show 3 young boys reported to them they had seen the creature. The direction they claimed it was heading would, in theory, lead to the location of the 3 young girls' sighting. Furthermore, 2 more residents, an unnamed man and women, would confirm the boys' statement. The woman even recalled the boys were throwing stones at the creature. She would tell them to stop, which they did. It then disappeared into the woods. The fire department would send a small search unit into the woodland, but aside from the odd glimpse of something moving, there was no confirmed sighting. That was until 2 hours later when, according to the notes of Rodriguez, they managed to corner the creature. They managed to net it, noticing how it gave no resistance whatsoever, perhaps suggesting it was injured. Might this presence have been the one noticed by Souza? Thinking their mission complete, the commander was raided. When he arrived, he ordered a complete sealing off of the area. Furthermore, the operation was now classified top secret. According to the notes, more creatures were in the area. The searches would continue under the watch of Lieutenant Colonel Olimpio Vanderlei Santos.
So,
Yeah.
more creatures in the area.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that ended up, well, not a lot of people, but there was a couple of people that ended up stone cold dead out of this incident, you know, plus a few animals on the zoo.
Alright.
Okay, just
So
play that bit.
That looks like an old photograph, is it? Or was it a painting?
And I think that is a genuine photograph of where that alien being was actually seen, which the three girls spotted. They came back to the area. The villagers all came back.
No, I think it's a photograph that's been processed with the paint option to make it into a painting.
Okay.
Yeah, you can turn it. Yeah, you can turn it into an oil painting or watercolor painting. It looks like it's
sure. Yeah, it's a cool effect.
Maybe just to get around copyright, maybe. Yeah, for YouTube and web pages. But anyway.
Hints of a cover-up. Another creature was captured later that afternoon, taking the total to 3, including the one witnessed by the 3 girls. An intense storm would break out shortly after, bringing a halt to the search for several hours. However, by 6 p.m., the search units would venture back out into the woodland. 2 officers, described in reports as plainclothed agents, would locate and capture a 4th creature. Unequipped with the devices and tools of the search teams, the 2 agents forced the creature into the back of their car. According to investigations of local researchers, the agents would drive the creature to a small local clinic. However, the doctor would refuse them access to the premises and would refuse treatment. Instead, he urged that they take it to the hospital in the city. One of the plainclothed agents, apparently identified as Marco Cheres, had handled the creature with his bare hands during its apprehension. Within days, he became extremely ill and was hospitalized with the loss of the use of all of his limbs. He would deteriorate rapidly, showing no response to any treatments. Ultimately, he would die on the 15th of February. However, the events that followed are disturbing, to say the very least. The hospital offered no explanation for the officer's death. They did, however, order that his coffin was sealed shut and that the funeral should take place within hours. The family would sue the Brazilian military over Cheres's death. However, the only new information they discovered was there was a small amount of toxic material in his body, and perhaps more damning, an apparent altering of official records showing that Cheres was not on duty on the night in question.
So, what?
Yeah, now that's disturbing, isn't it? Because that's an absolute fact. There's no question of it. That guy is dead. There's no doubt about that. And it was a very unusual death. But what I found, there's an interview with a doctor who treated him, and we've got that coming up. And, and it's fascinating. It really is intriguing. They didn't know what the hell was wrong with him.
Just going to ask how you're sounding on the side, because we can't monitor it.
Yeah,
make sure that he's when Robert talks, it's not crackling or too low. We had a bit of a low problem last time, didn't we?
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All good. Yeah, we just don't know with Google. Sometimes they mess it up a wee bit with changing code and stuff. I think it may be solved now, but they might break it again. So we got another alien autopsy, eh? Okay, here it comes.
Another alien autopsy. According to Rodriguez's investigations, an entire wing of the city's hospital was off limits in the days following the incident. Furthermore, the military would hold a meeting with all employees of the hospital. They would inform them the events of the last few days was a training exercise for doctors and military personnel. Perhaps more ominous, they were instructed to deny everything if anyone asked them any questions, especially that lawyer, which was Rodriguez's trade. On the afternoon of the 22nd of January, 3 large military vehicles were present outside the hospital. At this point, the reports state the creature was still alive. By 6 p.m. that evening, however, it was dead. The military would place it in sealed high-tech containers ready for transportation. According to further investigations by local researchers, sometime around 4 a.m. the following morning, in the early hours of the 23rd of January, a convoy of military vehicles led by a yellow Volkswagen van left the city of Varginha. Their destination remains unknown. Some claims state that Senior Fortunato Baden-Powell Hares would lead the autopsies of the presumed alien creatures. He would always deny this. However, according to a student who asked him about this apparent autopsy in the late 1990 seconds, he stated that he would really love to give you an answer, but please, ask this question in 10 or 15 years from now. Perhaps Dr. Paul Hares was being rather optimistic on the disclosure he seems to be suggesting would happen.
So that's 1990s here. Because they did put a, what do you call it, a quote character.
Well, no, he said in the late 1990s, yes, the incident happened in 1996, didn't it?
No, I'm just saying the reader read it out as seconds, but...
well, it does make the odd little cock-up.
Yeah, it's because it hasn't got a single quote there, so it treats it as a seconds rather than a plural. But
it does a good job overall.
So... they got all these creatures. What do they do with them?
Yeah, so Pelagius is not actually saying that this didn't happen. He's saying that he can't talk about it, but hopefully he will be able to talk about it in the future. Well, it's 2019 now, and he still can't talk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a shame. But I think he was being a little optimistic.
I suppose
that's probably what he was promised at the time, to keep his gob shut.
I know.
This will all be out in the future.
Yeah, I know Bigelow brought up that other one we did. What was that one called now?
I think that was the Height 611 case in Bledsoe, wasn't it?
No. And it was South America where they got attacked by the UFOs.
The Pelagius incident.
Yeah, that's it. I can't think of the name, but he bought all the military records off him for millions of dollars, probably.
Yes, he did.
And I wonder if he's got the records for this one too.
Quite possibly. I don't think he was involved in this case though, because I've got a few people who were involved, and I don't think he was one of them.
Right. Makes you wonder if he's actually seen alien dead bodies, Bigelow.
It does, doesn't it?
So what they say down the sides, they shouldn't eaten the creatures. They should have eaten.
So just return the favour. I don't know what they taste like.
KFC. Everything tastes like chicken, they reckon, but anyway.
I don't know. It put one guy in a box, so I'm not really sure I'd want to be eating it.
No.
American presence. Further investigations would reveal at least one US agent on location in Varginha from the 20th to the 23rd of January. Furthermore, it would seem that Merc had warned the Brazilian authorities the week previously on the 13th of January 1996 that it had tracked a number of unidentified objects over the Western Hemisphere that night, and that one or more had penetrated Brazilian airspace. Whether one or more of the unidentified objects in question crashed to the ground somewhere in Brazil that evening, quite possibly near Varginha, is open to debate. There is, however, a report of such an incident. Carlos de Souza was driving along the Fnaodias highway early on the morning of the 13th of January. He was less than 5 miles outside of Varginha when he suddenly heard a muffled roaring sound coming from overhead. When he turned his attention skyward, he could see a cigar-shaped silver craft traveling approximately 50 miles per hour. He could clearly see 4 windows along the side of the craft, which he would estimate to be around 40 feet long. He could also see a jagged tear or crack at the front of the object. Thick, white smoke poured outwards into the air from this mechanical wound. The craft soon overtook Souza, and for 10 minutes he followed the silver object. However, after that, it disappeared in a dive over the tops of the trees. From Souza's vantage point, there was no doubt it had came down somewhere in the woodland.
So we got another one of these artists.
Yeah, but you see that the Souza event was on the 13th, exactly 1 week before the main event. So I don't know how much we can tie that in.
So these are three
But the
girls.
FAA reports were there, yeah.
Yep.
These are the three girls, yes.
So
Two sisters and the older girl there.
So this cigar object, why would it be bleeding? It must have got attacked or what?
I have no idea, Paul.
No idea on that one?
No idea.
Military attack on it?
I doubt it. But this is interesting.
Oh, NORAD. I think it read it out wrong. Let's see how it goes.
Advanced
it's
notification from
North
the raid.
airspace
He continued to drive his truck in the direction he believed the object came down. After several minutes came proof of his conviction. He brought his vehicle to a stop, not wanting to get any closer. In the field ahead of him, he could see the scattered silver remains of what was obviously the cigar-shaped craft that had passed overhead only minutes earlier. Surprising to him was the presence of around 40 soldiers, who were busy gathering up the wreckage and hauling it onto military vehicles. That they were there so quickly didn't add up to Sousa. Of course, we know now that they were likely acting on information from the raid. He noticed a piece of silver material not far in front of where he stood. He moved to it and picked it up. As he did so, however, one of the soldiers shouted out to him to leave immediately. He did so, but claims that when he stopped for coffee several miles down the road, two military men in civilian clothes would approach him. They knew his name and informed him in no uncertain terms that he was not to talk about what he had seen. While there is no absolute proof of Sousa's account, it does correspond with the apparently leaked information about the raid details that Sousa wouldn't have been aware of at the time. What is for certain is the case very likely has more to it than a simple hoax, and, at the same time, very likely carries disinformation so as to further hide the truth of the events of late January 1996 in Varginha, Brazil. The video below looks at this most intriguing case in a little more detail. 1. Like many other such controversial cases, divides opinion in the UFO community.
I suppose we can't play that though.
Yeah. No, but listen, it's fairly be so useful if you could listen to the army guy, in my opinion, lying through his teeth, and in my opinion, Nick Pope lying through his teeth. Whoa, Paul, hold on a sec. If you can go through to 17 minutes, 30 seconds. Better to slow it down because there's subtitles.
Hang on, UFO Files. Is that the TV show?
I don't know.
I think it might be. Hang on. Let me just open it up here, see who's submitted it. It doesn't say. It's a Indian fellow, Ramesh. Yeah, it looks like it might be TV. Well, we should be able to play it under fair use, but because of the copyright business,
we're not going to have to use it all. Just from 17 minutes, 30 seconds. I know that's not easy. If you can do playback speed to slightly slower, so we can read the subtitles.
Right. I think it's got other subtitles here, though. A minute, did you say, or what? Sorry, I didn't...
17 minutes and 30 seconds, Paul.
It's the Sci-Fi Channel. So it is... it is UFO Files series, I think. It was quite
too far. There you go. Okay, you need me to listen to this now.
Okay, I'll take a chance.
Okay.
Why can't we hear it? That's stuffed up. Although we did check the thing out, didn't we? That one. Go from there.
Identified dwarf couple.
I don't know, it sounds a bit dorky.
Go back a little bit, Paul. Go back a little bit.
I think it sounds not right there. Speed it up a wee bit.
Okay.
About here, you reckon?
That'll do.
ESA. When asked about the UFO crash and alien capture, they flatly denied it. But bizarrely, They explained the eyewitness reports of aliens at the hospital as a misidentified dwarf couple.
Porque na realidade, aparições de extraterrestres ou de OVNIs, isso não houve porque não houve uma comprovação. O que ocorreu mesmo foi o seguinte: no dia 20 de janeiro, estava chovendo muito forte em Varginha, correu um temporal. Os caminhões,
you've got wrong subtitles.
estavam ainda na garantia. Então nós deslocamos 2 caminhões.
No, it's in English, but it's translating what they're saying.
Até Varginha para que fizesse a manutenção prevista.
No, it's not.
Tudo disso
He's
aí
speaking. You need to get rid of those subs, Paul.
I thought that might happen though. Right, let's try again.
Então, o que ocorreu mesmo foi o seguinte: no dia 20 de janeiro, estava chovendo muito forte em Varginha, correu um temporal. Esses caminhões Mercedes-Benz, que eles estavam ainda na garantia. Então nós deslocamos 2 caminhões até Varginha para que fizesse a manutenção prevista.
Tudo disso
aí, no
That's why I told you to slow it down.
Houve uma série de coincidências de fato. Havia no hospital de Varginha um casal de anões.
Yeah, but when the guy was talking, he sounded like a dork.
Doesn't matter. At least we can see the subtitles then. We've got plenty of time to see them.
At hospital.
There was an expectant dwarf couple. Okay, sure.
I'll read it out then. There must be...
So there must be confusion between the extraterrestrial, the dwarf couple expecting a baby, and our treks in the town.
I understand that some of the Brazilian military authorities have said that the whole incident may stem from a bizarre misidentification of an actually
That's Nick Pope, isn't it?
A real case which actually involved a dwarf couple being taken, I think, to hospital. Now, I don't know about that myself, but I mean, speaking from my own experience of the military, they are an honourable group of people, and if they say that this took place and that this is the explanation, I think we clearly have to put some store by that.
Okay, so stop it, Paul. Now, did you hear what Nick Pope just said? He's just told us anything the army says, we can take that to the bank. Well, they've been lying to us for 75 years, and Nick Pope turns around and says that. Now, what's his agenda, Mr. MOD man? And that guy who reckons his trucks are coming in for maintenance, or an MOT, basically. Now, it's quite funny why you'd be taking, your vehicle in for MOT during the early hours of the morning with a whole bunch of guys in the back who were armed. Don't you think you should just take one person to take it for maintenance? Nah, something's wrong here. Okay, and if you want to take it to 21 minutes and 45 seconds, Paul, or thereabout. As I said, I know it's not easy.
They could have.
And we'll find there's another dwarf. You need to go back a bit.
I don't
21 minutes.
I don't think let us say that word anymore. I think it's a banned word.
Well, they're saying it. It's not us that's saying it.
I think you got to call them little people.
Oh, you need to go back to 21 and 45.
I heard.
Back again a bit. There you go. Leave it go.
Leave it more.
Yeah.
Won't quite get there. Okay.
The one given by the soldier in the hospital. The local military commander offered an explanation.
Por causa desse temporal cá em Varginha, existe lá senhor anão, ele é anão, baixo,
There's a mentally handicapped man,
ele é retardado mentalmente.
A dwarf who had this strange disfigured appearance.
Por causa dessa chuva, ele havia se machucado muito.
Because of the storm, he hurt himself whilst trying to take cover on his way home. This happened in the area where the girls said they saw the strange creature. So we consider what they saw. Due to his disfigured appearance and dark skin, they could have confused this little man with this alien creature.
Yeah, but did he have red sunglasses?
Are you kidding me? Come on, are you
Did he have red sunglasses on,
joke. Oh, don't be so damn ridiculous. That's an absolute joke of an explanation.
Well, what did they say in their description? Something about the skin, wasn't it? Bare skin, wasn't it?
Well, apparently he fell in the mud, he got covered in mud, and he had a dark complexion anyway, and they mistook him for an alien. Anyway, I'm about to show you what kind of an alien this actually was, which is actually quite funny. It just gets even worse.
This one here. Well, it does look like sunglasses there, though, how they're drawing it. You want me to read out more of this here, do you?
The head and also
damn it, I've lost the tab.
Okay, we're talking about a...
See, it's funny how they've drawn it really human-like here, with almost like sunglasses type eyes there.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Whether that's done on purpose, I don't know, just to try and say it was a dwarf.
Yeah, everything's wrong about that explanation, you know.
So what do you send to me? Another link, or what?
Yeah, I just posted it there in YouTube.
I don't see it.
It's just gone up now.
Yeah. So we don't need this video anymore?
Nah, you can dispose of that one now, Paul. Thank you.
I don't think we'll get done because we read over it while it was playing, so we should be alright. You think we should be alright with that one?
It was quite important, really, to the case, you know.
So this is the creature, or dwarf man with red sunglasses. So this is what they're saying is the guy, is it? This is hilarious.
I can't actually see. I can't look there.
You can't see it.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's Pasay Messias, or whatever his full name is, Masano. Yeah, Padesse Masano. Yeah, poor little guy. Yeah. So that's how and you know the worst of it is, Paul. Yeah, and guys. The girls actually knew this person quite well. It's only a little village, and they knew this person quite well. And his parents were disgusted at this because they said that he never even left the house on that day in question. And so look at the comparisons they're making here. Come on.
Well, that alien has got big ears. Did he have shaved head back then, did he, as well?
No, I don't know. They probably cherry picked the best one they can, and it's no match at all, is it?
Well, he's got a fairly long neck, that's for sure. And he's got big ears like a Kelly Hopkinsville goblin. But yeah, he looks nothing like the drawing.
The alien
anyway.
Hasn't got ears at all.
Did the girls actually draw a picture themselves? Was it something like that?
Yeah, they done that artist rendition, the one that you put up in the introduction.
But they didn't actually draw it on paper themselves? Because that's the one to go by, really. See what they drew for comparison. So yeah, we want to carry on with the other story. Oh no, we got to the end, didn't we?
No. You need to get that web page I've given you and read out the text on it, please, Paul.
All right. Let me see if I can scale up the font a wee bit so people can see. There we go. Last month.
Last month, excerpts of the conclusions of the official military investigations on the Varginha case were published by ISTO magazine. As would be expected, they caused quite a furore among enthusiasts because their Lieutenant Colosio Feinhold Pereira raised as the most probable hypothesis that a local with disabilities, known as Luisinho or Little Louis, being probably dirty due to the heavy rain, seen crouching against a wall, was mistaken by 3 terrified girls as a creature from space. In short, as can be seen in the comparison above, part of the military inquest, little Louis was allegedly mistaken for an alien. Being that some local ufologists claim the Varginha case is the best UFO evidence ever, the idea that it could be explained so simply is bound to be met with derision. The bombshell brings to mind the official explanations for the Roswell case, including the claim that it was a case closed. It must be taken with a grain of salt. Here's to our ordinary look at this new development, which from the start is not actually new.
So what's Sex saying? He's saying you're getting pissed.
Well, maybe later today.
He will if I debunk it, though. So,
yes.
The old story.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. At this stage, you've got to admit there's some things. Have you read all of that out, Paul? Now?
No. But didn't they say there was multiple aliens as well? So what they count for that? You see.
Yeah, well, that's it. They've said case closed, and that's what the heading of this article was. Case closed.
All right.
So they've tried to debunk one little part of the case and ignored the rest, which is, as you know, it's a classic 2-card trick, isn't it?
Mm. I'm trying not to yawn. Sorry.
Okay, it's
an old story. The Varginha incident happened on January the 20th, 1996, when a creature was sighted by 3 girls ranging from 14 to 21 years old, sisters Lillian and Volquia Silva, and their friend Keisha Xavier. According to their emotional description, it was a biped about 5 feet high, with a large head with 3 horns and very thin body, with V-shaped feet, brown skin, and large red eyes. It seemed to be wobbly or unsteady, and the girls assumed it was injured or sick. The creature was said to have a strong, unpleasant odor. Soon the story spread through the town, and the next day it reached researcher Ubirajara Rodriguez, local lawyer and professor who is also a well-known ufologist. From there to the local and then to the national news, it was a matter of days. The stories multiplied as the case was heavily promoted by the media, and in the end the Varginha incident developed a full chronology that went from the detection by the narrate of a giant UFO which crashed in Brazil, to the capture of not one but several aliens which were then autopsied and finally sent to the US, as Brazil traded them for some unspecified favor from the Americans. One of the first hypotheses Rodriguez investigated was that the girls could have mistaken little Louis with an alien. In Ocaso, Varginha, 2001, his 370-page work on the case, he tells how.
Okay. So here's his quote coming up.
Yeah.
At the site of their encounter with the unusual being, lives a man named Louis, with serious mental problems. Little Louis walks around the block and is squatted. He doesn't speak. On the first visit of the girls to the site, after the sighting, little Louis approached and crouched, as he always does. Keisha took the opportunity to laugh, thinking it really funny the idea that they would have seen that young man and mistaken him by the creature they described. Oh, I have even given him a cigarette. Who doesn't know little Louis? There's no way we would mistake him for that. So, the girls almost immediately and plausibly denied the official explanation. Which, by the way, is also old. The army investigations were conducted in a few days in May 1996, and then in a more lengthy inquest which ended in July 1997. This is nothing new, and in fact, Rodriguez already knew their contents, as he was one of the witnesses questioned. In 1999, Vittorio Paccaccini, who investigated the case at the time along with Rodriguez, also published an article refuting the official explanation. In Varginha UFO crash, Brazilian army claims 3 girls saw deformed human. Paccaccini even offers us what probably shouldn't be very necessary, a comparison showing that little Louis does not actually look like a horrific alien.
So it is a
comparison. Yeah, Paul, can you stop scrolling through that stuff when you're playing the text? It's making me dizzy. I'm sure it's making everyone else dizzy as well.
I'm pretty sure everybody's interested in looking at the pictures, but
no, I don't think so, because half of them weren't relevant to the case.
Well, I can't help that with the Google search. Google search seems to bung a lot of rubbish in Keyword search.
Okay.
If Lewis was the one out there, crunched in that place where the 3 girls sighted that hideous creature, certainly the 3 girls would have recognized him and had not left the place running scared and terrified. They already knew him, Pakaksini argued. Very well. An overlooked story even this author had already heard about the idea, which Rodrigues discussed in private conversations several years ago. I didn't give it much relevance. Fact is, I had never seen a photo of little Lewis squatting.
Yeah, so you see, not only do the girls say they know him, they say they know him well. He was just a popular figure around the village. So I don't see how they suddenly... And apparently it was midday when they seen him, sun shining. And, you know, there's some people trying to say, oh, well, they might have seen him in the dark. And, come on. It's just bollocks, isn't it?
I think you'd know if it had clothes on, though. But it is a bit strange. It looks very similar to Jaime Mason's monkey thing that got acid that removed its skin. You know, the alien thing he bought off the guys, which was a fake.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much credence we can put in that case anyway, so that's, again, it's not really relative.
Whether it was before or after this case. So what year was this one? 96, wasn't it?
96, yes.
Not too sure when his one came out. It must have been...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't go on a tangent with that one now. It's no point.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it might,
that's a bit of a bogus case anyway.
Yeah, people might say it influenced what they were seeing, you know.
I doubt it. Not in Brazil. They wouldn't know much about that.
I don't know. But anyway.
Not a 14 and a 16-year-old
He's almost always
girl,
sitting
Paul.
that way. And he does live almost in front of the site where the girls met the hideous creature. And it did rain heavily that day. Let's assume it was not little Lewis whom the girls saw. Sure, it couldn't be. They already knew him. They saw him again shortly after the event and even laughed about it. Very well. But if you take that assumption, or even conclusion, you must automatically accept that an unknown creature, perhaps from outer space, appeared of all places in the small town of Varginha, Brazil, in front of little Liz' house.
Oh no, Scott C. Warren though, he's a hoaxer, fraud guy in Unifit.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that gave him 2 strikes yesterday. Did he? Did they? Good on him. He's a menace to the UFO community, unfortunately. He comes up with some stupid stuff, though. Remember that Mars one we looked at, which was just like the sun passing through the solar cells on the rover? You're saying it was a chalk line? That was just ridiculous.
Just to squat exactly as little Lewis does to this day. An alien would travel the galaxies to squat like little Lewis. This would be one squat of a coincidence. Coincidences do happen, in fact. The USAF report which claims the Roswell aliens were dummies from Project Excelsior tries hard to show how the dummies may have looked like aliens. They do look strange, but the report missed the broader point that people do not need to see strange dummies to come up with stories of aliens, especially if said stories only come up decades after the events.
Okay, we done with that one?
Not quite. I think it's some.
Okay.
At the bottom
Okay,
here.
do the rest of it then.
Yep, I think it's here, isn't it?
So, is the Varginha case closed? Certainly not, as the stories grew much bigger than the initial sighting by the girls. Which we can't, and probably won't ever know for sure if it did involve little Lewis, or if it was simply an amazing coincidence involving some actual unknown creature. But no one should ignore the possibility that one of the most famous Brazilian UFO cases may have started with a simple confusion with a local man, perhaps all muddied up. It's a plausible explanation, just as one can also plausibly refute it by trusting the girl's prompt refusal of said possibility. Fact is, as Kevin Randall had already noticed, we have been unable to verify much of anything. We can't even claim this was a UFO case, since there is no physical evidence at all, be that of an alien creature, or even of any UFO. Ubirajar Rodriguez ends his book on the case by courageously admitting that we cannot reach any conclusion in this case, as we have never been able to reach one in any UFO case. Not even that it involved an UFO. It takes seriousness and courage to plainly state you don't have answers when you don't. A lot of people would much prefer to have any kind of answers, even if they are pure fantasy. We still can't reach any conclusion, but now we have some very thought-provoking images.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. So I think that debunk is pretty much debunked before you even look at it properly, to be honest, given the facts.
Unless they were lying, of course. There's only possibility there.
Well, I don't really think so, because they came back years later and stuck by the story, you know.
Unless they made money from it. Do you know if they made any money from it?
No, they've never made money from it, as far as I understand. I tried to look at that as best I could, and no.
Oh yeah, so what do you want me to read on this particular page? All of it, or what?
Yeah, sure, there's not a great deal about it. You can go past the introduction and straight to the article, to the UFO conference in Brazil.
Well, they say 1997 here, not 96, so how come that's different?
No, that's just a typo. They apologise for that later in the article.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll just pop to the toilet bowl.
Okay. Yeah, he's got 97 there too. Okay, so it's really 96.
South American military men may speak at international big UFO conference in Brazil. At least one entire night will be devoted to Varginha case. April the 14th, 1997. Brazilian researchers organized the biggest UFO conference ever, the First World UFO Forum. Wide.mark from December the 7th to 14th, 1997. Brazil's federal capital Brasilia will host the biggest UFO conference ever promoted in the world until now. A coalition of 6 Brazilian UFO researchers has been contracted by a large non-governmental organization called Glockener to organize the conference and invite as many international speakers as possible. Up to now, the list of invited comprises 52 top UFO researchers from all over the world and over 30 Brazilian lecturers as well. The coalition of researchers contracted to host the conference is comprised of Claudia Cavo, from the National Institute of Aerospace Phenomena Investigations, INFA, Rafael Curie, from the UFO Research Nucleus, NPU, Reginald O'Date, from Ufological Research Center, BU, Marco Antonio Petit, from Fluminense UFO Research Association, AFA, and Ubirajar Rodriguez and Arjivad, both from the Brazilian Center for Flying Saucer Research, CBPDV, the biggest UFO group in the country. The conference, to be held in 8 days, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily, has been called First World UFO Forum, and its main objective is to promote a summit of the biggest and most prominent UFO researchers from all parts of the planet. These people will be asked to prepare a comprehensive document covering most aspects of UFO visitations and alien contacts, to be given to the main authorities from several countries. Some of them will be present at the forum. Brasilia has been chosen to host the forum because it is regarded as the central city in Brazil for discussion of the UFO phenomena. Many Brazilian and other South American civilian and military representatives will be invited to attend the discussions. Representatives from other non-governmental organizations, scientific community and associations are also in the list of invited parties. Brazilians are definitely trying to organize the biggest UFO event ever, and the only publication in the country, the Brazilian UFO magazine, is devoted to promote the forum as extensively as possible.
Yeah, we're just saying Rene in the side. He follows the hoaxes as well as the truthers. There's only 2 I follow. Martin Willis, he's good. Oh, actually 3. Robert's probably the same too. Follow Martin Willis, the Black Vault, and what was the other one? UFO NN. I think they're about the only ones.
Yeah, I follow most of them, to be honest, even the ones that I don't believe in too much, just to see what they're up to and keeping up to date on things, you know.
I've sort of given up on Dolan.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a bit as well, especially that Bledsoe guy.
He's terrible, isn't he?
Credibility to him at all.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to go through, Paul, the list of international speakers that were invited, which is all down to this incident. I mean, we can go through them one by one anyway. You know, I'll talk them out, Paul.
Righto.
Okay, I can't see them all there. Okay, so I don't know a lot of these guys, you know. Okay, Antonio Lasseraz, Argentina, never heard of him. Davy Seamus, Israel, never heard of him. Bob Brown, USA, yes, I've heard of him. Bud Hopkins, the famous abduction researcher. Colin Andrews, yes, he's from England. I'm not sure if he's still with us now. Cynthia Hind, remember Cynthia Hind, Paul? She investigated the Ariel Zimbabwe UFO case. She was a MUFON investigator. The Iranian guy, I don't know. Donald Ware, Edgar Mitchell, look, wow. I'm skipping through a little bit now. Graham Birdsall. He was the guy that ran UFO magazine, probably the best UFO magazine ever. Unfortunately, when he died, the magazine died with him.
Guess who else is there?
Who?
The one I got highlighted.
Oh, Jamie Maussan.
Jamie
Rodriguez, Ecuador.
You have to say J's as H's, remember?
Okay.
If it's Spanish.
Okay. Jesse Marcel Jr., look. John Carpenter, John Mack. Leonard Nimoy, wow, Dr. Spock. Leo Sprinkle as well, USA. Linda Moulton Howe, oh well. Yeah.
We don't like her too much. What else?
I'm saying I don't like her, I just don't agree with her, that's all. Robert Borval, another English guy. So, yeah, you've got a worldwide group here. Tony Dodd, he's the ex-copper from England as well.
So, recapping, what was this meeting all about exactly?
It's a Congress meeting. If you look at the title at the top, it'll tell you that.
International Big UFO Conference.
Yeah.
Phil's World UFO.
Yeah, so they all gathered in Brazil for this, you see.
Right. Is there anyone missing on the list that's obvious? Well, Richard Dolan's not on that list. Might be before his time though. 96.
Not really before his time. No. I think he's been into it 35 years now. So
who else? Timothy Good's not on that list, I don't think.
No, but Timothy did do some good investigation on this.
And
no question
Jack
of that.
Valet.
Jacques Valet, yes.
I don't think he's on there, is he? Let's see it.
I know he got involved with the case, but may not have been at the Congress. They're just the people at the Congress. Stanton Friedman was there as well, I know that. Oh, there he is, look. Stanton T. Friedman, he's under Canada there. So he'd moved to New Brunswick by then.
Right. And we got John Carpenter. He's a movie writer, isn't he?
Yeah.
What movies did he do again?
He done The Thing.
Yeah.
That one based in Antarctica, I think.
He done a lot more than that, though.
Oh, he done a lot more than that. But that's the one I always remember him for, you know. But we can move on to the next tab now. I've left on there for you, Paul.
Tab. Yep. Where's it gone?
It's okay. I'll put it there again.
We've got a lot of chit chat.
Yeah, that's good. Great to see a bit of chat.
Renee's listing all the people out there. Unfortunately, 99% of UFO channels out there you can't rely on to be factual. Yeah. We're sort of changing how it's going to go, though, hopefully. I thought we'd looked at that one. Oh no,
we haven't.
Let's come up with a different page, right?
It's the same website. This is the most comprehensive website on this.
Apart from he's got the year wrong, which sort of throws you off a wee bit.
Yeah, it does a bit, yeah.
You think you go back and edit the page, though, wouldn't you?
I think he did later on some...
Oh, you're gone.
That's okay, I'm here.
I thought you muted
yourself. I just need
yourself.
to close the doors after this hound.
Oh, right. Well, there's quite a lot of words there. I'll read out that much. Right.
Witnesses receive offer of money to deny the story. Editor A. J. Givad, Mrs. Lisa Helena de Silva is mother of Lillian and Varginha. On April the 29th, 1996, at about 10 p.m., 4 well-dressed men went to her house with the purpose of bribing her with money and goods if their daughters denied the whole story, belying their previous account. Lisa Helena de Silva, I cannot say who are these people who tried to bribe me, because I've never seen them and I don't know them either. But I know that, on a Monday, about 2 weeks ago, they came here at 10 p.m. I don't know why they came in the evening. I think it was in order to nobody recognize them in the street. I don't used to receive visits this time of the day. They were 4 men, all using dark sneakers and suits. 2 of them apparently had 40 years old, and the others were younger. 2 of them were white and 2 were brown. One of the whites was too white. It seemed to be a Russian. They didn't seem to be military. I thought, at that moment, that it could be police people, but I don't think so. What I know is that these men, for sure, are not from Varginha. But 2 of them had the accent of the southern miners region. Bribery attempt fails dash. Only me and 3 of my daughters were at home, Lillian, Varginha and Fernanda, the younger, who was already sleeping. They clapped hands in front of the gate. Varginha went to attend and said that there were 4 men outside. While I was in my bedroom changing my clothes, they went into my house, didn't wait to see if they could or not. They came and entered, invading my house. They spoke my name, as if they already knew me, saying that they wanted to chat with me and with the girls about the yet they have seen. They said that that time was the only time they could be here and asked me to lock the gate, because it was a private conversation and I couldn't receive any visit. I got afraid, but, anyway, Varginha went outside to lock the gate. I asked if Ubirajara sent them here. One of them said that they had nothing to do with Ubirajara and that I should forget him. After they have heard the girls, I asked them who they were. They told me that it wasn't of my business. They asked my daughters what were their dreams, which was my job, how much was my salary, where my husband worked and if the house was mine. They wanted to know which was my major concern and if the girls were working. If I gave my word that I wouldn't speak anything about their visit, especially to Ubirajara and to Pakaksini, they would make an excellent proposal to me. They said they were the gold mine that we have never thought to have. They said they knew I was poor. They made an offer to me, saying it was irresistible, that they didn't want to buy me, but that this help was millionaire. I have no quietness anymore, because after the interview I gave to Fantastico, I don't know what can happen. As I was afraid, I gave them my word. They said they wanted me to come with my daughters, and nobody else, to talk in a TV station, not at that little local station, but in a bigger station outside of Varginha. I should belie everything, say the girls have never seen anything, and some more things I would have to rehearse with them.
So I read it down to the other way. Where did it get to? There, I think.
They said they would pay cash.
Oh.
I became so puzzled that I didn't ask how much was it. They only said that I could buy a house, pay my debts and stop working as a maid. I became so nervous and worried. I asked if there wasn't a phone number I could call another day to give the answer. I said I had to think. They didn't accept and said they would come back. After we appeared in Fantastico, talking about the bribery attempt, I'm sure that they will come back. Pacaxini knows about my situation of life, and if somebody appears with some help, of course I'm gonna thank. But I wouldn't let my daughters lie, especially regarding this very serious matter. Even being so humble, they are an OT gonna lie. They speak the truth from the heart. There are a lot of people involved. For now, I'm still working in the same job, but I heard a conversation that it will last only for this month, because there are a lot of people calling to my work. I don't know how they found out the number. It seems there is a person who watches us. It's too much nuisance. I'm working and then people start calling to my work, asking to talk to me. To be honest, my life turned into a hell after everything happened.
So, 4 men wearing dark sneakers, of all things, and suits. Why would you wear sneakers, though? If you're like Men in Black, you'd only wear proper shoes, business shoes, wouldn't you? 40 years old, 2 of them were white and 2 were brown. Brown skin, I assume they mean now.
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, I mean, we don't know why they're saying sneakers, because maybe it was the only way they could describe them, you know? Slip-on shoes, I really no idea. But I've no reason to doubt the story, because the girls came forward several years later, I think 2 decades later, which would have been in the 2010s, and they told exactly the same story.
One of the whites, they say, white men, I assume, seemed to be Russian. They didn't seem to be military, which is kind of strange, because...
Well, if you see someone in plain clothes in a suit, you don't automatically associate them with military, do you?
Yeah, but why would you wear black clothes in a hot country, though? You know, kind of strange.
Well, Paul, you can't deny that Men in Black exist. It's happened time and time again.
Yeah, but why can't
they be?
You
don't expect them to turn up in a t-shirt and trainers, do you?
But why
they don't have much an official presence then, do they?
Black is medicine, is it what the case is? Yeah. They could sharpen all yellow, right? I don't know. What's Brazil's...
People turn up in suits to work all over the world, Paul. It doesn't matter what the climate is.
What is the colour of Brazil? Is it yellow down there? Yellow, red?
Yeah, the flag's yellow, but I don't know what's that got to do with anything.
Yeah. So we got another link to go, have we? Hello, Roberts.
Yes, I'm not sure if I've posted that or not now.
I don't think so. No, they're not mentioning Tim. He's a copycat secure team. Puts up stupid UFO clips of everyday stuff. Balloons. Lens flare.
It looks like we're going to get through this quite quickly, actually, Paul, today.
So you only got one case, haven't you?
Yeah, just one case, yeah.
Oh no, not UFOs over New York as well. He's useless. He's just another copycat. Like I said, 99% of them on YouTube. It's just not worth wasting time on. Just wasted time watching.
No, it's difficult for people finding a wheat from the chaff. It really is.
Look, you're not gonna, if people are saying they got UFOs on video, it's just definitely not going to be putting them up on the YouTube channel. They'd be trying to sell it to TV and whatnot to make money from it. Only if
they're very naive.
Yeah, even if you put it up on YouTube, you're not going to put the full footage up so you can actually sell the rest of it and commercialize it. Unless you weren't really interested in the money side of it and really interested in the UFO side of it. But yeah, a lot of the stuff out there is explainable, like skydivers and all that crazy stuff that we get. Same website again? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Restricted laboratories. So, how big is this one? Quite a lot there. We'll see how it goes.
Restricted access laboratories. Up to now, we suspected the existence of four restricted access military use laboratories, being two at Unicamp, University of Campinas in the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and two at the Brazilian Air Force Technical Center. All of them are underground labs. Only a few civilians are allowed inside these labs, only those with the proper clearance. The two labs lie at Tamios Highway, one located at kilometers number 6 and the other at kilometers number 12, that perhaps have received the strange metals recovered from the crash of the spaceship. The Unicamp's labs are located, one at the Institute of Biology and the other at Hospital das Clínicas. According to the witnesses, who don't want to identify themselves to the press, these labs have received the bodies of the strange creatures captured in Varginha. A witness affirms that an important person in the research sector took him to the restricted access laboratory underneath the Institute of Biology at Unicamp. The witness described the lab as hexagonal and having metallic walls. An employee who works with Dr. Baden Paul Hare's note from T, the scientist who was accused of having autopsied the creatures, said one of the bodies arrived at Hospital das Clínicas in a metallic box with holes, transported by two military men. They went until a room with a corridor with many doors. In one of the doors the woman and the two military men were barred. It was asked for them to put the box on the floor and they had to come back. The box was then removed to the underground level by other military men who were already installed down there. Another person, friend of Dr. Paul Hare's, informed that Dr. Paul Hare's himself said that, at the time the doors will open, I want to see who can stand for 1 minute face to face with this creature. Referring to the live creature, who has a horrible aspect and a strong ammoniac smell. Now in the end of the year, note from T, 1996, Dr. Paul Hare spoke as a lecturer at one college of law in Campinas. In the end of his talk, a student asked him if it was true he had autopsied the creatures captured in Varginha, to what he answered, if you make me this question in a few years, maybe I can answer you with more freedom. An employee of the Amarais Cemetery in Campinas informed that one of the bodies of the strange creatures remained stored and strongly guarded by the military from February to April 1996 in one of the freezers of the IML, note from T, Institute of Legal Medicine, located at an annex building to this cemetery. Another curious fact is that after we've started to divulge the existence of an underground, restricted access laboratory at Hospital das Clínicas in Unicamp, quickly all the heliographic copies with the drawings of this hospital's structures projects were removed. Very strange.
Yeah. So, yeah. Rene's still promoting people on the side chat. Yeah, rather you not promote the fraud channels, Rene. Anyone wants to check out the stuff that these people put up, I do debunk them lives on Sundays mostly. But yeah, Steve Barone, he's either deluded or...
Yeah, I don't think he's promoting them as such, Paul. I think he's just stating them. You know what I mean? It's not promoting them.
Yeah, I spelled his name wrong there, but yeah, Barone, he's either delusional or he's a fraud, because he's been... Every video that he's put up, it's easy to overlay the city lights and see that it's mountain pass roads where the lights are appearing, not above the mountains. He put one up not long ago on some UFO page. Was it Ryan Sprague's page? So yeah, I sort of analysed it and debunked it, but I didn't actually do a video on it. So we got another... you want to talk about this particular one here, Robert?
Well, yeah, there's just one aspect here. Again, someone's described that the thing with this case. All the witnesses are describing this alien being, not in various forms, but all the same way. And another thing is that smell of ammonia, which they're all stating as well. So the witness statements corroborate for the large part.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the next one.
Ammonia.
And if so, we don't have to finish early because in fact we can go through some stuff that I didn't think we'd have time to go through.
Alright, so it's 1 hour and 19 minutes.
yeah. So that's cool. We've got plenty of time.
It doesn't matter if we finish early. People don't watch the full amount anyway. Most of them out there.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is getting to the nitty gritty. Now this is the doctor's report on that young military policeman that died as a result of coming into contact with this being. Okay, I'll just leave that in YouTube for you now. And it's quite a tale.
I'm not sure how to spell it. Ammonia? That's not it. Ammonia. How do we spell?
Ammonia, which smells like bleach, if anyone doesn't know that, because ammonia is basically bleach.
Ammonia. Is that the one?
AMONIA.
It's nitrogen and 3 hydrogen atoms. NH3. It's a hydride, and the simplest, whatever that is, is colorless gas with a characteristic pungent smell. So what is bleach? You reckon it's the same as bleach?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know about that. Bleach.
Just type in what does bleach contain. You spelled blench.
Oh right, yeah, I did too. Google didn't
take out
it.
that N.
Bleach.
Oh no.
Yes, I can push the wrong button. Is it? There we go.
Try Naples.
Here we go. Bleach is manufactured from salt and water to produce sodium hypochlorite. It doesn't say ammonia though. Myth 1 contains 3 standard chlorine. If you can smell bleach, you are sure to experience negative health effects. The more you use in each disinfectant application, the better. I suppose it's like 1 drop. You have it very diluted, 1 drop per litre of water if you want to kill bacteria. Bleach forms toxins harmful to the environment. It's the only thing that kills all viruses anyway. That's why they use it in hospitals, bleach, hospital grade. Yeah. It doesn't say about ammonia though.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. I think it just has an ammonia odour.
Let's see, bleach, difference, bleach and ammonia. Here it is. Come up for us. Can bleach and ammonia kill you?
I think they can when combined.
How about difference?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Caustic soda and chlorine, and bleach is made from, ammonia is what's in P, isn't it? Isn't it? Ammonia and P, is that where the smell comes from? Or have I got the wrong thing? To most people, ammonia and bleach are known as effective cleansers. Yeah, they are considered to be the most effective and inexpensive cleaners. Ammonia is also known as a weak base. Ammonia mainly consists of nitrogen, which we know. Bleach is generally used in fabrics, especially white clothes, to get stains out, of course. Bleach can lead to discoloration, which we know. Apart from ammonia being used as a cleaner, it's used for manufacture of fertilizers, nitric acid, caustic sodic ash, dyes, cosmetics, nylon, acrylics, and rayon.
Well, I mean, of course, just because they described it as an ammonia smell doesn't mean to say it was ammonia. It was maybe the only thing they could, relate that smell to.
Ammonia.
Anyway, I don't think we need to spend any more time on that now, Paul. Oh, the dog's just knocked a hoover over.
Yeah, I know if you get stung by a jellyfish, I think it is, if you pee on the sting, it's meant to neutralise the acid from the poison. Is it ammonia that's in...
Well, I'll keep that in mind the next time I get stung by a jellyfish.
What's the urine? That's the word. Ammonia and urine. Urine already has ammonia odour, so adding more will just make the smell worse. Whatever you do not ever combine bleach and ammonia. You could die from inhaling the fumes, so you don't mix them. There you go.
Come on now, Paul. This is not a chemistry course. Let's get on with the flaming case.
Well, I just learnt something.
I've left yeah, okay. I've left another tab for you there, but I better leave it again, I think.
No.
Because this is really onto the nitty-gritty now. This is the doctor's report, okay?
New revelations.
Oh, Jesus. Come on now, move on.
That's the one that you said to read, isn't it?
There we go.
But that's, isn't that not the one that you wanted me to read?
Yeah, well, I've had to post it again.
Well, I've already got it up now. You're saying this is not the one you want to read?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. This is what happens when we go off the subject, off the trail, you see.
No, it's not. It's because you didn't post the right link.
No,
don't blame me. Don't blame me.
It's all your fault.
Varginha. New revelations. One of the physicians who treated the deceased policeman after the capture and contact with the at Varginha makes new revelations. Source: Magazine UFO Brazil and Degrees 102 www.ufo.com.br. Article of Archivad, Ubirajara Franco Rodrigues and Cesario Lincoln Furtado. Translation by Cesar Nazaro, and summary by G. Budais. Forward by Gildas Budais. In August 2004, was revealed in Brazil a long interview of researcher Ubirajara Franco Rodrigues with Dr. Cesario L. Furtado, one of the physicians who had attempted, without success, to heal the young policeman Marco Elicheres, deceased less than a month after having been in contact with one of the mysterious beings captured in Varginha in January 1996. This interview has been published in the magazine UFO Brazil of Archivad N Degrees 102 and on its website http://www.ufo.com.br. It has been translated in French by Christian Sanazaro and published on the website of Grepi http://www.ovni.ch. That interview being very long and containing some repetitions as the conversation proceeded, Gildas Budais proposes here a shorter, adapted version, in an effort of clarification. It is preceded by a presentation of the Varginha case by A.J. Givad, which is maintained here almost entirely. This new testimony comes in addition to those presented already in the French version of the book of Dr. Roger Lair, published in France in January 2005, before the American edition, under the title Des Extraterrestres Capturés et Grave Varginha in Brazil. The new Roswell Extraterrestrials Captured in Varginha, Brazil. The new Roswell. One of the most remarkable testimonies in that book, also quite new, is the one of a doctor who had been commended by the military to perform an urgent surgery on one of the captured beings. A most intriguing aspect, which renews the picture of the Varginha case, is that this surgeon reveals he had an intense telepathic communication with that being at the end of the surgery. He has also made a precise description of the being, whose extraterrestrial nature seems beyond doubt. It is obviously an important reading as well.
So, what do you want to say about that?
Yeah. Well, you see, what we're going to look at is not the surgeon's report, although that surgeon apparently did give a report to Timothy Good later on, which I read, and it must have been a library book because I couldn't find it in my collection. But anyway, what's coming up is the doctor's report on the military policeman that died after coming into contact with this alien. Apparently only had minor contact. So we can carry on from here, because a lot of people might find this a little bit boring, the medical side of it, but I find it intriguing, fascinating.
Alien autopsy. Oh, we got some craziness going on.
My presentation by AJG read one of the most serious facts of the Varginha case, and one of the most appalling was the death, on February the 15th, 1996, of Corporal Marco Eli Cheres, who was then aged 23. As we know, he was part of the Secret Service of the Military Police, P2, which participated in the capture of the second creature in the night of January the 20th, 1996. The news of his death spread very fast during the first months of the investigations, according to other sources, which revealed that a policeman had died because of a generalized infection after having been in contact with the ET. Faced with the gravity of the situation, the subject was treated with extreme caution by the investigators concerned with the case, while the lawyer and consultant to the UFO Review, Ubirajara Franco Rodriguez, was still searching for new informations. Rodriguez managed to check with the City Hall that a policeman had really found death shortly after the capture of the creatures. The ufologist even obtained a copy of the death record, by which he was able to locate the family of the boy. The same witness who alerted the investigators about the death of Cheres also declared that the creature, at the moment of the capture, would have attempted a light reaction, obliging the policeman to touch his left arm without his gloves. For some of his colleagues, he would have been contaminated one way or another. Marco Eli Cheres. The family of Marco Eli Cheres managed to have an inquiry opened by the local police precinct in order to establish eventual medical responsibilities for his death. At that time, searches seemed to be doomed to failure, but they are still underway at the present time. The parents did that because, a few days after January the 20th, a small tumor, similar to a furuncle, appeared under one of the armpits of Cheres. That tumor, according to what was learned at the time, would have been rapidly extracted by the doctor in charge, at the very premises where he was serving. We know today that nothing like happened. But what most drew the attention of the boy's family was the lack of information about his health condition and, later, about his tragic death. Even months after his burial, nobody knew exactly the cause of his death.
So, what do you want to say?
Small tumour. Apparently that was successfully removed, but he had multiple health problems in a very short time, and they just couldn't find an answer to his illness, hence he died. But we'll get now to the actual doctor interview, which there's no question about this interview. It's not faked in any way. It was an official thing, you know. And he's not giving away too much, but he's just telling you the medical facts on this. But it's an important article.
Okay, we'll read that chunk out first.
Yeah, we should read it all out, Paul, just so we don't miss anything. Thank you.
We'll get to the
autopsy refused. The police superintendent himself, who led the inquiry, was not able to be present at the autopsy of the policeman, in spite of his insistence in the face of the police corps in which Cheres served. The retention and or dissimulation of information regarding that subject were purely and simply an affront to the family of Cheres and to the laws of the nation. Even worse, such an affront was committed by the military police itself. It's only 1 year after the event of Varginha, on January the 20th, 1997, that things began to move, after the dissimulation of the facts had been denounced publicly with insistence, both by ufologists and all the press. Among the most disquieting facts put forward by the investigators, there was precisely the absence of information regarding the death of Cheres, the most important piece of the headache named the Varginha case. Thus, in the middle of a press meeting at the first anniversary of the event, investigators denounced the silence and obtained that the family, the police superintendent and the press had at last access to the autopsy file. From its contents, Soldier Cheres would have died from a generalized infection. The policeman would have arrived at home, a certain night after the capture of the creature, suffering from a strong pain in the back. After the ablation of the tumor, he would have shown a gradual process of paralysis and fever which, becoming more serious, obliged him to go to the hospital Doncaster, where he remained confined and practically isolated from his family during several days. Close relatives of the policeman, especially his sister, Marta Antonia Tavares, the one who went the most frequently to the hospital, could not have contact with him and had great difficulty to meet the doctor responsible for the treatment. And it was even more difficult for them to discover what the illness was. Little time after his entry at the hospital Doncaster, the policeman was transferred to the hospital regional Dusel de Miners, also located in Varginha, the same where he would have brought, in the night of January the 20th, the creature he had captured. Cherez was led directly to the Center for Intensive Care of the establishment and taken in charge by the very physician who reveals today publicly what he knows. This is where Cherez passed away at exactly 11 a.m. on February the 15th, 26 days after his implication with the extraterrestrial. Note by G. Budes, the following interview of the doctor gives a slightly different story. Although all the tests and exams possible were applied in the search of a diagnosis, he could not be saved in time, was to declare the superintendent in charge of the inquiry, in the course of his deposition before the judge of the comarca. It was just discovered that the physicians who took care of Cherez at the time did not have the faintest idea of how to fight the illness which was striking him down. After the decease of the boy had been unveiled before the press present at the meeting of January 1997, the commander of the military police of the state of Minas Gerais denied the facts immediately, including the presence of Cherez during that night of January the 20th. But, in order to protect such an absurd story, they invented an even more crude one.
Which is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The family of Marco Eli Cherez confirmed that he was indeed on duty that night. Furthermore, he did not die alone because of his professional activities after the contact with an alien, but the creature he had captured died also after that contact, and much faster than Cherez. It seems clear that the death of the policeman has become the less controllable and the most dangerous piece of the process of dissimulation imposed by the military of ESA and the Brazilian army, has acknowledged Marco Petit, co-editor of the magazine UFO, who participated actively in the inquiry. A.J. Givad then presents the interview of Dr. Cesario Lincoln Furtado by Ubirajara Franco Rodrigues, stressing the considerable research of Ubirajara on Varginha and the extreme importance of this document. Here is now the interview.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, we all know what happened, you know, when the indigenous, when the British started moving into the Americas and mainland America. The indigenous Indians died off fairly quickly with smallpox because, and that's just a fellow human species. So, you know, God knows what type of virus that or diseases of whatever form, but an alien life form, you know, it doesn't bear thinking about. You know, it could wipe out the human race in no time.
Well, someone was saying not long ago that
in this case it seemed to be isolated.
Yeah, I think I was hearing some website or some show talking about the theory that a lot of the human viruses actually come from panspermia, from asteroids that are entering the atmosphere.
Oh God, yeah, that you know, that's another a scary thing as well, because we'd have no warning of that. You could just arrive in a meteorite, couldn't it?
So yeah, they're saying Ebola and AIDS was actually from outer space.
Well, I mean, it's not implausible.
But you'd have to prove it. I think the link for AIDS was from eating monkeys in Africa, I think it was, not cooking the meat properly.
Then again, if they could prove it beyond any doubt, would they actually tell us? I'm not really sure, because that's just going to cause an awful lot of disruption in everyday society.
Bird flu started when birds were pooing on mangoes, I think it was, fruit in Africa again. And it wasn't washed properly, and of course they consumed it, and then it got to the human through ulcers in the mouth or whatever. But anyway, moving on.
To what was the cause of the death of policeman Marco Eli Cherez? Interview with Dr. Cesario Lincoln Furtado by Ubirajara Franco Rodriguez. Summary by Gildas Budes. Dr. Cesario Lincoln Furtado Ubirajara Franco Rodriguez. Ubirajara hereafter asks Dr. Cesario Lincoln Furtado. Dr. Furtado hereafter. What was his role in the treatment of policeman Cherez in the hospitals of Varginha in 1996? The following is the summary of his answers to several questions, condensed in chronological order. Dr. Furtado, Marco Eli Cherez was first admitted in the department Bruntumd emergency ward of the hospital regional by my colleague Armando Martins Pinter, cardiologist, on February 12, 1996. He entered there because of an intense pain in the lumbar area. Dr. Armando directed him to the hospital Bompastor, where he was rapidly taken in charge by Dr. Nate, who was cardiologist, general practitioner, and head of the department of cardiology, and who ordered some exams. I was then involved, being at the time the supervisor, sort of coordinator, of cardiology at Bompastor. Questioned by Ubirajara, Dr. Furtado explains that he worked in both hospitals. However, during that month of January, he did not work at the hospital regional. He went every morning at the Bompastor. The reason why Cherez was sent to Bompastor is not clear to him, perhaps because of lack of room at the regional, or rather because Cherez would have military medical coverage there. Dr. Furtado, the next day, at the hospital Bompastor, we asked for new exams because Cherez was still suffering in the lumbar area. We asked for urine analysis, radios of the column, of the lumbar and sacrum areas, in addition to an examination by an orthopedist because the pain was intense and we suspected the presence of an herniated disc. Dr. Ruggiero Lemos, in charge of OVT, examined him and said that there was no alteration and that the problem did not come from there. He told us to continue our search of the cause of the pain, as fever began to appear at that time. The blood analysis, which arrived in the afternoon, showed an hemogram with a leukocytosis, a deviation to the left and toxic granulations in the neutrophils. This was a sign of an important infection, highly capable of provoking a poisoning, toxemia, because there were those toxic granulations. We then administered 2 antibiotics, penicillin and gentamicin, because we thought that there could be a pneumonia, owing to the localization of the pain, or an urinary infection. His case was evaluated again on February the 13th, same condition. The next day, still at the hospital Bompastor, he spent the day with fever and pains, but at an acceptable level. Until the morning of the 15th, where he woke up very tired and in a state of torpor, with signs of cyanosis. These symptoms seemed to confirm a general poisoning vehiculated by the blood, with a possible outcome in septicemia. He was then immediately transferred to the intensive care of the hospital regional, where he was put under medication. At the time of the hospital regional, one of the first exams was for HIV, with a negative result. His state of health deteriorated rapidly and he died in a few hours, although he had been given antibiotics soon after his admission. This intrigued everybody and an autopsy was performed. It did not confirm an urinary infection, but that was later confirmed by the urine culture which had been ordered at the Bompastor. He also had a mild pneumonia. Said Dr. Furtado, in my opinion, the urinary infection was the cause of septicemia, because the pulmonary infection was so minimal that it could not have been responsible for such a state.
Okay.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? You know,
well, viruses are, especially since they mutate and change and fight out antibiotics.
There seems to be multiple conditions and they just couldn't get a grip of it at any stage. You didn't know what it was.
Humans could be in trouble, though, with antibiotics, the way it's going.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely, Paul. I agree with that. It doesn't have to be alien.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
we could have.
Coincidence, isn't it?
I don't know if you heard on TV, but we had a plague of measles on Samoa Island out near New Zealand, who look after them. Killed off a lot of kids because they didn't get vaccinated. And there was an anti-vax guy that was pushing it, and he wasn't very well liked. So I think, flu vaccines is not needed, but I think you need to have the main ones, measles, smallpox, and all that sort of covered. Yeah,
sure, yeah.
As you're dicing with death, really. I think that you get more deaths if you don't get vaccinated with that particular one. Then the risk of it killing the vaccination itself, killing the person or the infant or whatever. It does probably affect a small percentage of people and kill them. But yeah, it's worse than not having it done, you see.
No, but all I'm emphasising is there's a strange connection between his contact with this so-called alien being and his illness, and it's taken him out very quickly.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on to see what the doctor says, see if he says it's unusual or not.
Yeah, I'll just read out the next chunk then.
The close relatives of Cherez, mainly his sister Antonia, says Dr. Furtado, suspected that the obsessed Cherez had in the left armpit, after the military operation, had not been properly treated, which may have caused infections. But Dr. Furtado denies that, because, when Cherez was admitted at the hospital, the abscess was practically cured. Furthermore, the abscess was due to another bacteria, a staphylococcus, which is normal for any small infection on the skin. The main point, insists Dr. Furtado, is that the cause of his death, the causa mortis, has not been clarified. A few days before, the boy was in very good health, and at the beginning the infection looked relatively simple. He never had in the past any difficult treatment which could have caused an immunodeficiency, and it could not be congenital either because, if such had been the case, he would not have reached the age of 23 years in good health. This is why we can affirm that his immunodeficiency was acquired, but we don't know how. His death was not caused by a pneumonia, neither by an urinary infection, nor by the abscess.
So this works both ways too. So aliens could catch the bugs from us that kill us. It was going to kill them.
Apparently the alien died off very quickly afterwards, but that could have been anything, couldn't it? I don't know.
Well, if they got stuck outside without any spacesuits, because they were nude, weren't they, in the pictures? Then they're going to be infected by our bacteria and viruses, which would have killed them. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've heard about aliens having this latex, or not latex, what do you call it? Spandex, was the word I was looking for, type of running suits, the grey running suits, one piece.
Yeah.
A bit like Star Trek, I suppose.
Stanton Friedman was of the opinion that this was like a cargo that was jettisoned rather than an intelligent alien being that were actually controlling the craft that they...
Well, the thing at the start, we talked about a cigar-shaped craft that had a tear in the side. Now, as we know, there's a story about good aliens and bad aliens. Maybe it got attacked by the bad aliens to bring it down, and maybe that's how it started as well. So, another sci-fi movie, maybe? But it's a possibility.
But it would also explain why NORAD picked it up so early.
Yeah, because it was it lost its cloaking technology when it got attacked, maybe, and it appeared on radar. That would make more sense. So yeah. So I'm just throwing stuff out there, of course, but it's good to discuss it.
It's speculation, but speculation is good.
Dr. Furtado also says, at the beginning, the diagnosis of an urinary or kidney infection prevailed because of the presence of enterobacteria. But, in less than 20 days, 3 bacteria attacked the policeman. 3? This is a very rare thing in the world. When Marco had a pulmonary infection, he already no longer had any immune defense. In that case, any bacteria can take control of a person. At the request of Ubirajara, Dr. Furtado gives more medical details. Ubirajara asks, in the hemogram sent by the laboratory of Bompastor, it is said, presence of cytoplasmic vacuoles, presence of 8% of thin toxic granules in the neutrophils, discrete polycytosis. How can you, as a physician, interpret the presence of 8% of those small toxic granulations in the neutrophils? Dr. Furtado, they appear in the neutrophils of a person who is victim of the aggression of a very virulent bacteria. This provokes a battlefield, if we may say, which could reach 50% to 60%. The file mentions 8% because it refers to the first blood analysis. And that already demonstrates that there is an infection, which led to the prescription of antibiotics. Their presence denotes an important and serious infection. It is not frequent, except in serious cases. Ubirajara, in ufological circles, when some researchers will read this statement in the results of the hemogram, They are going to interpret that those 8% of toxic granulations were unknown things, the presence of a new substance, or yet something else.
Yeah, so talking about viruses, there's a new a new season of The Expanse. I'm not sure if people have been watching that or not. It starts off that they get invaded by this virus that infects people and takes them over and kills them and stuff. And eventually it leads to it being a machine organism that creates a portal to like 13 solar systems, which there's like a jump gate which takes them straight there. And it's all worlds that humans can survive on, which is quite interesting sci-fi series. And of course the latest season is where they go onto one of the planets and start exploring it and find some leftover alien machines that stop working, and they get infected as well and all that sort of stuff. So a spoiler alert there, but yeah, it's really worth going to check it out. It's now been taken over by Amazon Prime, I think it is. Well, worth having a watch of the 10 parts season. I think you probably could jump straight in there without watching the previous seasons, but yeah, it sort of lost its way in the last season, I thought, and now this season's probably the best one I've seen of it. So yeah, good effects, interesting storyline where they're trying to terraform Mars, right? It starts off that Mars and Earth got separate colonies and they're at war with each other because they're not happy. There's a lot of politics in it, as usual. And then the settlers want to go to these new worlds to start a fresh new life and all that. And they don't want them to until they understand what's going on. So yeah, it's good to go and check it out. I probably should bring it up on the screen.
Dr. Furtado, no, nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. As I said already, they don't appear in other infections, but are frequent in serious infections. Ubirajara, during the time that you took care of the policeman, did you notice, at the Bombastra as well as the regional, the presence of any unknown physician from outside? Dr. Furtado, no, I did not notice any. I did not see either the superiors of Marco Elicheres, whether of the police or the army. They did not look for me, not even to collect the least information regarding the boy, during the 2 or 3 days. Ubirajara, there is, in the medical inquiry following Marco's death, the deposition of a dermatologist. He mentions a blood infection, in which red cells would have been attacked by white cells. According to this dermatologist, those 8% in the blood examination could have denoted a contagion by the skin of an eventual toxic substance which would have attacked the red cells. What do you think of that? Dr. Furtado, this has nothing to do. There is no connection between these elements. The report also says that a few days could have passed before the process materialized, but it is not so. If there was such a contagion by the skin, its effect would be blazing. We would be decimated every day that way. Ubirajara, could you see the body?
I'll take it to the end now.
Yeah, sure. Quite a scary conclusion.
Yeah.
Dr. Furtado, no, I could not. It is not usual. After the death, the body is taken for the autopsy and there is no other recourse. After a person is deceased, you inform the family, and in the case in question, I was not even the person who did that, because when they took him to the DI, I transferred my responsibilities to the other doctor at the DI. Ubirajara, did the family think of asking for an exhumation of the body? Dr. Furtado, not that I know of. In fact, an exhumation would not have brought any proof of what really caused the death. As for the death certificate, the cause of the death was not mentioned because there was not the faintest element permitting to guarantee anything. Ubirajara, you mentioned that a member of his family had affirmed that he wanted to know what this illness was about, because the policeman had participated in the capture of something strange. Was this told to you before, or after his death? Dr. Furtado, a few days later, when his death was still recent. I don't remember very well, but his sister was in great shock, and she came to talk with me. Ubirajara, let's stick to the facts regarding this interview. But, did you notice any other movement at the time, in one of these hospitals? Dr. Furtado, I heard of many things, but I did not witness any particular movement. However, rumors were thriving at the maternity ward of the hospital regional, but I never worked there, being not an obstetrician. Furthermore, the maternity was somewhat separate, the entrance and the rest of it. As for the hospital humanitas, where I also worked at the time, I did not notice anything. Not even comments between doctors, nurses, and office personals. Ubirajara asks further if there could be isolated areas in those hospitals. Dr. Furtado explains that, at the regional, there was also a reserved aisle, used for contagious patients. At the humanitas, there were few movements, and there were many rooms without activity. But, in 1996, there were no longer isolation premises, except in hospitals specialized in contagious illnesses. Ubirajara, do you see other interesting aspects to mention about that episode? Dr. Furtado, listen, there is that story reported by the family regarding the capture of the being, about which I don't know anything. But we don't find any rational explanation for the death of this boy, because it was terribly fast, you understand. Ubirajara, could it be caused by a totally unknown bacteria, however improbable? Dr. Furtado, yes. Well, if we talk of something completely unknown, it is obvious that we could not risk any conjectures. There is no answer possible. Now, could something have penetrated inside his organism, something equally unknown, which would have deprived him of his immunity system? This is another question without answer. Ubirajara, could you tell what type of thing would be susceptible to provoke that, for instance? Dr. Furtado, I don't know. That might be an injectable poison, an infection of injured skin, at the face or foot. It might be an injury caused by a nail, which would provoke tétanos, etc. But we know tétanos. A multitude of things, I might say, and this is just to enumerate some examples of what might have contaminated that boy and deprived him of immune resistance. I repeat that I say that it could be. Ubirajara, are you telling me that the death of Marco Eli Cherez was a strange death? Dr. Furtado, a strange death, without rational explanation. In the course of my professional life, I have seen already 2 persons, aged about 25, die of an infection, but we knew that both had immune deficiency. Both of them, if I recall well, had removal of the splenectomy, following a past accident. After a certain delay, that causes immunodeficiency. In that situation, the person may decease rapidly if he finds himself in the condition of a septicemia. But, once again, it was not the case.
I don't think it is an alien virus, though, myself, because...
Paul, listen, what Potato is saying is this is something that in all his years as a doctor he's never experienced before. He's clearly saying that at the bottom line there. So for you to say it's not an alien virus, or you don't think it is just really silly, isn't it? So you've got to look at his experience as a doctor.
Yeah, but if it was something... Yes. If it was something new, it would have been quarantined, right? And it would have spread to other people. Unless it's a real...
Well, hence they moved the body, didn't they? Well, you don't know how contagious it was. Because if it was an infection, then he had to come into close quarters, didn't he? And that's what they're saying there. It could have been caused by a fingernail, head or toe infection. You've got to actually read what the guy's saying and understand what he's saying.
So you're saying you're trying to say that he only got the infection because he got scratched by the alien, something like that.
No, I'm not saying anything. Just read out his last statement again there from A Strange Death, right at the bottom. Just read that out again.
Dr. Furtado, a strange death, without rational explanation. In the course of my professional life, I have seen already 2 persons, aged about 25, die of an infection, but we knew that both had immune deficiency. Both of them, if I recall well, had removal of the splenectomy, following a past accident. After a certain delay, that causes immunodeficiency. In that situation, the person may decease rapidly if he finds himself in the condition of a septicemia. But, once again, it was not the case.
So there we go. He's saying it's highly unusual and he's never experienced this kind of fatality before, not in his career anyway. So yeah, I mean, we have to take that into account.
Removal of the spleen. So what's the spleen exactly?
It's fairly vital. It works in conjunction with the liver and the kidneys. Well, everything does in the human body, doesn't it? But that will cause immune deficiency. That's what the guy was saying.
Picture of spleen. So that's a kidney.
I think it's round the back. The spleen's round the back, isn't it?
No, that's why I googled it so you can see. Okay. Looks like it's on a kidney there to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
stomach.
I know one guy who had the spleen removed because of a motorcycle crash. It was it had to be removed. It was destroyed.
Well, that's what he said. Past accidents. So the spleen is an organ. Actually, I'll just read it out. Oh.
Yeah, I've got no problem with doing this part.
That's a bit like me with the gallbladder. I had to. Mine was rotten. It had to come out. It made me really sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It almost killed me. I was 10 days in hospital.
Jesus.
Yeah, they said it's the worst case they've ever seen. They said you're like hours away from your system shutting down and killing you. And I said I don't feel that bad. I'm just in total pain with it. That's all. Give me the painkillers.
Front view of the spleen. The spleen is an organ in the upper far left part of the abdomen, to the left of the stomach. The spleen varies in size and shape between people, but it's commonly fist-shaped, purple, and about 4 inches long. Because the spleen is protected by the rib cage, you can't easily feel it unless it's abnormally enlarged.
Well, it doesn't look like a kidney then, so it must be like a small organ.
No, maybe you should type in the spleen and immune deficiency.
Yeah, it looks like it's attached to the stomach or on the stomach there. The spleen plays multiple. Okay.
There we go.
We only read out a wee bit of it.
Yeah, that's good.
I might get in trouble.
The spleen plays multiple supporting roles in the body.
You won't.
It acts as a filter for blood as part of the immune system. Old red blood cells are recycled in the spleen, and platelets and white blood cells are stored there. The spleen also helps fight certain kinds of bacteria that cause pneumonia and meningitis.
So that's quite important there. So they had it removed, which means they would be more skeptical to.
Yeah, because this particular guy who came in contact with, if we can believe it, the alien being, he didn't have any problem like this. You see, the Dr. Furtado, he was explaining it. He'd only seen that kind of thing with people in the past that had the spleen removed.
So it's got white blood cells which fight infections and cancer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where do we go from here? Was that the end of it?
Okay, sure, I've got a bit more. Yeah, I've got more. So we've read out the doctor's report now, which is, you have to say, it's highly suspicious.
I don't know.
Okay, I've left another tab for you there.
So, if it was an alien virus, you think they'd cut the body away and find out what it is, so they can use it as a weapon?
Was it a virus or was it infection, or was it just something completely anomalous that we don't understand? And it killed him fairly quickly, didn't it?
What's strange is about strange cancers in the ufology field. A lot of people die from cancers. So, yeah.
I'm not sure how much we can read into that. But, fast-acting cancers, yeah. I mean, we know that that's not a myth.
We've read this one before.
Done. There was that spy, British spy, wasn't there?
Yeah, not too sure. And this one we've already seen. So what's
no, I don't
going
think
on?
so.
Pretty
This
sure.
is the fireman.
I'm pretty sure. Is it the same website?
Yes, it's the same website that the firemen deny. If you can go to the top, Paul, so I can just be sure.
No. We've read that out before.
Yeah, hold on. I'll post it again, okay?
Get your posts.
I have put it there.
Fireman? What, Richard Fireman? What are you talking about here?
Fireman.
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 Fireman. As in engines.
Yes.
As in fire people. I thought you were saying
no,
fireman.
As in they put out fires, Paul.
Well, I heard fireman, which is like Richard Fireman, not fireman. Fireman. Firemen. So you want me to read that out? So
yes, please.
If the fireman cut it off,
a bit of time, so we may as well go through it all.
If the fireman touched the creatures, you'd think some of them would be killed too, though, is what I'm trying to say, though. Unless it's only passed when they get scratched.
But you've also got the animals at the zoo that died. I think there was 5 to 8 of them. Right. And all the deaths weren't explained.
We haven't read that bit. Whereabouts is that coming up?
I'm not sure if I have that.
I don't remember hearing it, so unless I was doing something.
The case.
I will read it out.
Hey, we got Ali.
Firemen deny involvement in the Ebbs capture. The statements from Vittorio Pacaccini and Ubirajar Rodrigues, saying that the fire department captured deaths in Varginha milligrams, state of Minas Gerais, contradict the word of Pedro Alvarenga, commandant of fire department's 13th company, who said the corporation wasn't called to attend local occurrences on January the 20th, 1996. The commander affirmed that, because they work in public areas, they wouldn't manage to hide the case from the press or the ufologists. He also said that the researchers are trying to involve the fire department, the military police, and the army with the fact. He claimed that it would be impossible to hide the case. The emotional aspect of the men involved would change, because it's not unusual capture, and there wasn't any change. However, Ubirajar and Pacaccini assure they have military witnesses who confirm the firefighters' involvement attending an occurrence at about 10:30 am midday in Jadimanda. According to the witnesses, the firemen arrived at the place with 4 soldiers in a fire engine. They found a weird creature in the place, and the army observed closely the whole operation. The commander stated that Saturday, I wasn't in the quarter. The name of the fire department was involved in a casual way. I don't know, but I think there is no truth regarding this. Captain Alvarenga, see picture, said the witnesses are not military at all, because if they would, they'd talk something to the press. Even the population would ask for more facts and evidences that everything really happened. But, according to the ufologists, if the witnesses reveal their names, they would be risking their jobs and harming their lives. Besides, Ubirajar and Pacaccini recognized the witnesses' credentials. The press tried to take photos and to obtain interviews, but the firemen resisted. The commander tried to justify it, blaming Red Globo TV network, because they did a story on the subject. According to Captain Alvarenga, the fire department didn't want to expose itself in order to avoid complications with the media. The thing's complicated because the day people were talking about this creature, it had been a corpse exhumation in the city, and the victim's family thinks the police itself killed the boy. However, according to a fax received on May the 24th from the Institute of Legal Medicine, which is subordinated to the Minas Gerais State Secretary of Public Security, the body indicated as belonging to Jose Maria Misael Filho, 23, was exhumed in the institute, which in fact is located on the regional hospital premises. It is written in the official report that the necropsy was made on January the 30th, in other words, more than a week after the witnesses affirmed they saw the movements in the hospital. Alvarenga denied the fire department participation in the transportation of this corpse and said that the firefighters' unit of Tuscaricos is closer to the army, therefore it may has been called to some operation with ESA or to transport the victim. Contradictions. We said to the commander that what he was telling us was strange and contradictory, because before that interview we had made contact with Mr. Adil Sinusia, Director of Regional Hospital, who affirmed that the Varginha Fire Department, and not the Tshirt F. Department, participated in the corpse transportation. Captain Alvarenga then said it was a mistake of Mr. Usia. According to the commander, the ufologists involved with the research of this case, Ubirajara and Pakaksini, are imagining everything and making use of the situation, trying to put their names in the media. Pakaksini defends himself. I'm a very respected person, either in my profession, either in my private life. I've never needed the ufological research to promote myself. The same we can say of Ubirajara.
Okay.
Paul, can we go back to the text? It's a bit distracting when you're browsing like that.
Okay, but we're finished. Well, just showing the aliens to the latecomers.
Yeah, I know. It's just that some of those things you're bringing up have got absolutely nothing to do with the case.
But we got a red-eye alien.
Yeah.
Which looks really similar to other ones we've seen in other UFO cases. So we got to the end of that article, I think, didn't we? Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think because we're really focused on it, you need to go back to that bit there where it says contradictions, because the fire personnel were kind of denying it were even there, and that contradicts everything the witnesses were saying and some of the personnel themselves. So if we just run over that one again, Paul, please.
Contradictions. We said to the commander that what he was telling us was strange and contradictory, because before that interview we had made contact with Mr. Adil Sinusia, Director of Regional Hospital, who affirmed that the Varginha Fire Department, and not the Tshirt F. Department, participated in the corpse transportation. Captain Alvarenga then said it was a mistake of Mr. Usia. According to the commander, the ufologists involved with the research of this case, Ubirajara and Pakaksini, are imagining everything and making use of the situation, trying to put their names in the media. Pakaksini defends himself. I'm a very respected person, either in my profession, either in my private life. I've never needed the ufological research to promote myself. The same we can say of Ubirajara.
Okay, so suppose we got no pictures of these firemen?
Well, no, but the YouTube video that we had at the end of the first article does actually show interviews with the firemen. And when the researchers came and they asked to speak to the firemen who were allegedly involved, they said that those particular firemen were on leave at the time. Every single one of them, apparently. So that's that's another coincidence. So there we go. But, yeah. Okay. So it seems there's an obvious cover up here. There's no question of it. Anyway, I'll leave you another tab since we have the time. But when you're getting tired, Paul, just say. And
yeah, I'm just a bit worried that we haven't got enough pictures to have a look at what it's reading. That's your phone again.
No. We don't need to. We don't need to see pictures, Paul. We just need to get on with the nitty-gritty.
I think we do, just to break it up a wee bit, but keep people interested out there. So
we keep people interested by talking on the text and talking on what the witnesses have been saying.
Right. Well, we can play the interviews probably with the fireman because it'll be in Spanish, will it? So we could probably.
There'll be subtitles, yes. So you'd have to go back to the original tab then.
Oh yeah, well I don't have it now.
No, I can pass it back to you.
Yeah, so if we read over it while it's playing and the subtitles without any sound, I think we could get away with it probably.
Sure.
Well, we should be able to, but we've already done it now, so if it's going to get a copyright claim, it's going to be a copyright claim, isn't it?
More than likely.
Even though it's fair use, but just read out that one then.
risking life to investigate the case. Please. Many people who didn't believe in anything about UFOs started, at least, to suspect of something wrong after the case blew wide open. Everything is becoming very controversial. We know, for instance, that after we made that press conference mentioning the names of the military folks involved with the case, military officers have already came from Brasilia to Varginha. Nobody ever imagined that things would reach this point. Even within the armed forces, everything was hot like fire. The officers were crazy to know who had spread information that were not to be spreaded. One of our witnesses asked not to talk to us again because was afraid of being eliminated. Our phone lines and the lines of other Brazilian ufologists are tapped. We received a recent confirmation of it from secure sources. We are afraid that something happens to us. It is much likely that the phone line of CBPDV, Brazilian Center for Flying Saucer Research, which edits Brazilian Revista UFO, is also tapped, because everyone knows that the ufological information always converge to this magazine. The ufologists only now are realizing the seriousness of everything. We have always condemned the worldwide UFO cover-up plan and the Roswell case manipulators, but we had never faced before constituted powers, national and close to us. Secret operation. I know I'm not lying about this case. I'm absolute sure of what I'm saying, and the truth must be revealed. There isn't in the Brazilian constitution one single article that prohibits the ufological research, and that's enough reason for us to continue. If there is the possibility for us of being sat over an atom bomb, what about the future of ufological research that has been fighting against this secrecy for over 50 years? Everything has always been done in absolute secrecy. However, to our luck, this time the information leaked out. We know the situation here is very dedicated, but this is not gonna stop or hinder our investigation.
So, I think it was that one there, wasn't it? The video. Is that the one? That was it there, wasn't it? No. Where's the fireman one, do you know? Are you there, Robert? I can't hear you. Robert, you're muted.
Sorry, Paul.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, okay, so if you kind of skim through it, you'll see where it gets to the fireman.
Was it on this one again? With the red eyes, the one at the end of the thing. Was it on this one?
It's not a...
Was it on this one?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the bottom one. That's the one.
So where was the fireman? Do you remember?
I'm not really sure. I'd have to search for it myself here to just skim through it. Because we're not in... People don't understand that. We're just... There's a few seconds delay. Just quite confusing.
What have we got? Was that Linda Moulton Hell there? Wasn't it?
Review. My
It
own?
is, yeah. It is, yeah. Fireman.
Are you doing a search that way, are you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that the three girls older, though?
Yeah. I think if you go to 11 minutes, Paul, I think you'll find one of the firemen speaking.
3 minutes, even?
11 minutes.
Okay.
Please.
Oh yeah, fire truck. So what do we got set to here? We have to slow it down so we can read it, and we'll mute it.
Yeah.
It must be coming up. Fire truck.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that you'll be able to see the subtitles for the English part, you know?
People looking for answers. Who's this guy?
He's one of the firemen. You have to understand as well that the fire service at the time is actually ran by the and still is ran by the military. So it's not like the fire service in the UK or probably in the United States or New Zealand. It's a military organisation.
It kind of look like a fireman truck there, though, when you go back.
Yes, it is, but yes. But if you understand what I'm saying, fire service is run by the military.
Right.
It's a branch of the military.
So
you can check that out if you like.
No, we'll believe you. So he's talking about a Chupacabra over there, was he?
Oh, the Chupacabra, yeah, and he's saying that's rubbish and what have you, you know.
Yeah, that looks like the police there. So that's all the only interview we got, was it?
Yeah, because you're missing the English bit.
Yeah, why do people say that the fire brigade captured an alien? No, it's all foreign language there, mate.
No, there's English talk over as well, so you're missing it.
This wouldn't become worldwide news. He's not talking English though, it's got subtitles in it. That's Spanish or whatever. Was created out of the facts.
Yeah, it's Portuguese in Brazil. But you see, all these firemen, all these here now, were there on the day, but when these guys came down to interview them, they all happened to be on leave, all of them on the same day. Interesting, eh?
Well, you could have waited till they come back from leave, couldn't he?
See, now he's speaking in English, and now we can't hear that. You see, that was my...
Those reports came from people who actually helped to capture, to hold the creatures. So this is the best report someone can have. I wish the Americans have a report of someone holding the Roswell creatures back 50 years ago. They don't, but we do about Virginia.
So, that was all on the fireman then, I think, was it? Now we're talking about what part coming up? The doctors. Well, the Stuttgart, the medical team, we're performing all
this is a military person speaking out now.
Don't know if it was an autopsy or whether they were trying to save its life. So obviously this is a reenactment. Now you've been realised how crazy this was, I mean. So yeah, he's obviously talking while they're doing a clip. In the end of the doctors, they stated the flipped quickly then.
Time of death.
That sounds
I know it sounds mad, but I was there, it happened. I saw this creature with my own eyes.
Terrible background on that. I should have a black background.
Shh.
The people
of Virginia saw the menagerie, saw a strange creature.
We better not play too much of that though, Robert.
Okay, but this is quite important. This was a woman from Amman. This was an American journalist, apparently, that was staying there. And you can play a little bit of that if you like, but I think you'll have to put the volume up. So it's up to you, Paul. I'm not going to get you into trouble.
Well, we'll just lose our right on it if we get a claim.
Dawn broke on January the 20th. Varginha found itself in the center of a UFO maelstrom.
Muita gente acredita que trata-se de extraterrestre. E dizem também que o ser foi...
So they keep switching
capturado pelas
languages.
autoridades e é mantido escondido em algum
Well, the
lugar.
town was just going insane because everybody was on the streets because many UFOs were sighted at that time. So people was just connecting one thing to another. I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of people on the streets, and everybody wanted to know, demanding answers. It was a kind of
So what's that there? Is that meant to be the UFO that crashed, or is that just some other footage that happened?
Mass hysteria, I can tell you this.
That almost looks like a SpaceX launch.
In fact, there were hundreds
yeah,
of
exactly. Yeah, that's probably what it is, and that's a
UFOs
drone,
in the
I'd
skies
imagine.
above Brazil.
96 though, it wouldn't have been SpaceX back then, but it would have been some sort of launch probably.
Yeah.
Flooding into the authorities.
Surge uma novidade importante no caso do extraterrestre que teria aparecido em Varginha, sul de Minas. Uma testemunha militar afirma que a criatura foi mesmo capturada com vida.
O Fantástico teve acesso às declarações secretas desse militar. Segundo os pesquisadores que acompanham o caso Varginha, ele sabe o que está dizendo.
Mas os pesquisadores acreditam que a grande evidência do caso Varginha é o depoimento de militares que teriam participado das operações de captura.
I think that's drama. So it's not actually anything to do with the case itself.
No.
Was there anything else we want to add to this? We can't really play all that because that's a sci-fi channel thing, but I think
that's true.
I think we've pretty much covered that one anyway. Bits and pieces. We got to that stage anyway.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more here. Okay. What have been going? We're going 2.5 hours now anyway. So
yeah, it's almost time to wrap up, really.
Okay. I'll just give you this to finish with if you like.
Right.
It's in YouTube, Paul.
And so what are we looking at here? Military vehicles and planes. Described by witness.
No. Do half of it at a time.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Military vehicles and planes movements described by witness, lawyer in Virginia, and a former military man, Mr. J.C. Initials are fictitious. His real name cannot be revealed. Witnessed the military movements in the city the same week the girls sighted the creature. After the girls have seen the creature, almost nobody noticed, but there were vast planes. Note, UAPS is a Brazilian airline company over Varginha, in a very low altitude. I also saw the army combing the area. There were a lot of military people in the place. Nobody noticed anything. JC described the planes that flew over the city as being 2 F-5. He said they were not in the natural formation, they were in some attack formation. However, the most important fact witnessed by him was the presence of army vehicles near a wood, close to where the researchers affirmed the was captured. He was passing there and saw a truck carrying about 7 soldiers. He didn't know what would be the intention of these men there. They were walking around the area, combing the way. They wore green campaign uniforms, camouflaged. Some of them were in plain clothes, and they walked in groups of 2. More people also saw them. I wasn't the only one to see. They disappeared mysteriously. I think they realized that they were being watched.
So we hear a lot of time about military showing up at these South Brazil cases. The other one.
Yeah, and don't forget the explanation for it was they were just going in for an MOT by some coincidence. And then, of course, we had the little guys. I can't mention, apparently, DWAVES, That's against copyright or something. But yeah. So there's some pretty pathetic, ludicrous explanations for what was happening here, which does make you think there was definitely a cover-up going on. Whether it was aliens or not, I'm not really sure, but it certainly seems the most likely explanation given Occam's razor even, that yeah, I think that's the best explanation that we can give. Something crashed with an alien.
Unless there was a circus in town with a few little people.
And they crashed as well, did they?
They crashed.
It was a flying circus that crashed. That
was the air show, drone show. They didn't have it back in '96, though.
Oh well.
Just being silly. But yeah. I don't know. It's hard to know these old cases sometimes, especially when.
Well, it's not that old. It's 1996, and hopefully something good will still come out of this.
Yes, before everybody had smartphones to take pictures of things, of creatures and stuff. I wonder how it go down today if you had like a UFO that crashed and you had like 6 creatures running around the city. I think someone would better catch something.
Yeah, of course. Brazil at that time was, probably still is fairly third world, and I don't suppose everyone had a mobile phone on hand. Although there was a lot of pictures taken, because this wasn't, just an isolated incident.
Well,
there was events all around Brazil over maybe 2 weeks before and two months after this event. And there was some decent video taken as well.
How come
kind of orbs flying through the streets?
How come no whistleblowers from the army has come out? So with leaked
they have,
photographs.
Paul. This is the whole thing. We've been over that. There has been whistleblowers from the army.
Yeah, but
several have come forward and given first-hand accounts.
Yeah, but they haven't given any physical documentation or leaked photographs or.
Well, no, they can't do that, can they? I mean, if they'd done anything like that, they'd lose their pension for starters, and maybe lose their life. Who knows?
So maybe more come out in the future then.
That's what I'm hoping. As military personnel retire and or people get on the deathbed where they've got nothing to lose. But then, of course, they can threaten the family, so it makes it quite difficult, doesn't it, to speak out?
What documentary are we talking about? Why is it not shrinking down? Okay. Thanks for suggesting I'll check out the documentary. I'm not too sure which one you're talking about.
No, I'm not too sure either.
Probably on Discord, is it? There was a sci-fi series, The Expanse, I talked about, so maybe she's talking about that.
Yeah, it could be that was further up.
Okay, so we got this last bit you wanted to read out.
Yeah.
Some days later, JC heard in a bus stop near to his house at the Judima 2 neighborhood, Varginha, some people commenting on the story. These people said that in the same day he heard the planes, they heard the sound of 3 shots that seemed to be rifle shots. A person who JC knows has more details. At the time I was going down the street, I heard the shots. I don't remember which time it was. They went out of the woods with 2 sacks, but this I didn't see. As they told me, it were campaign sacks. According to the lawyer, one of them was motionless, but the other was moving. It seemed that it had something alive inside it. Soon after this operation, the trucks vanished. Some curious people tried to comb the place, but they didn't find anything. It all happened at about 10:30 am. Taking a shortcut, but JC reveals that this was only the first catch operation. According to his testimony, there was a second one, which took place between 1:30 am and 2:30 am that same day. When he was leaving his office, early that afternoon, he saw a truck leaving the city and stopping at the opposite side of an earthwork shortcut.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got ... at the end there, so it looks like there was more to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose we should always be almost wrapping up now. 2 hours 34 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's short this time. We done 4.5 hours last time, was it? But yeah, you probably want to get something to eat, don't you? So yeah, I'm not too sure what documentary Ellie's talking about still, but yeah, if it's from Renee, it could be dodgy. Renee watches every UFO channel out there, even if they're hoaxes, so stick with us, because we recommend valid, legit sources. So there's any other similar cases to this one that you would?
I think this one's quite unique. In a way that it's not your typical type of alien, and they didn't seem too intelligible. They seem to be cowering, afraid.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe Stanton had a point when he said they were maybe just a jettison cargo of some type, like, you know.
Yeah.
You never know. It's only speculation, but en route to a penal colony somewhere. I mean, I've really no idea. I'm just guessing in the dark.
When was Jamie's monkey alien? What year was that? Was it after? Because that might have given rise to the thing for faking, you see. It might be the other way around, where people heard about this particular case and decided to fake it. Monkey year.
Yeah. So yeah, in that case, the chronology of events is quite important.
Yeah. So. What was it called though? I did cover it on a Sunday Life, didn't I? Muson. I can't even remember how you spell his name. Muson. I think my eyes is going screwy on me. Alien Discovery. Squirrel monkeys. Shaved squirrel monkeys. It wasn't a squirrel monkey though. It was a what was it? A memo, something or other. Little monkey that fits in your hand. What year was that, though?
A squirrel monkey just doesn't fit the description at all. To be honest, its eyes wouldn't be glowing red in the daytime, that's for sure.
Metapet creature, I think it was called. That's it, you know, obviously. There it is there. But that's actually a small little monkey that's hand size, so you can see how big it is. What year was that though? It was reeled in 2010. When did it come out though? Creature of strange animal found by Mexican farmer. So this is a good 10 years after that alien. And it's really small.
Yeah.
Too small to be those particular aliens. So we need to discount that one. So that was a real creature, but it was a faked one because it actually has a long skull. And there's a picture of it. Sort of looks like their one scalped down though, doesn't it? Looks to me like they've put in red.
To be honest, there's not many descriptions of aliens with those red glowing eyes like the girls reported. Because this is another thing that fell into the hands of the debunkers. That people were saying that the girls never described it as an alien. They described it as a devil or demon. Well, of course, coming from their part of the world with their culture and their religion, that's how they would describe it. And nothing unusual there.
Well, they said a demon, which means they got that religious thing. So straight away, red eyes comes up with that one. So what else we got? Cash, London.
Well, no, there was no aliens seen at that that case.
So why is it brought it up then?
I have no idea, because you're using Google probably, which is crap.
Not always. Betty and Bounty Hill, I don't know if their aliens had red eyes. Large eyes.
No, look, they've just picked up Red as in Red Frame House.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to put quotes around it. Sink it down a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we go. Well, we got Red Bull come up. Or was it Red Eyes? Here we go. So there might be something in Australia. Let's have a look. Someone called suggested the documentary. Okay, I'm not too sure about him, but a new member to the channel. Lucky Country. So what's it talking about here? We've done that case, the missing plane.
Yeah, Valentich.
And we've done that one with the school.
Westall. Yeah.
What's that one?
Oh, Mount Gambier. No, we haven't done that yet.
No, so that's one to do, but we have to find out which one's got Western A triangle. Haven't done that one either, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And what else we got? Strange Saga. The Knowles family. Oh, that one. I think that one's quite a good one, isn't it? Is it where the car tried to get lifted up by the UFO? Or they got attacked by it? Three sons. Floor in the car. Yeah, we might have to cover these ones. These ones sound interesting. Perhaps you could do a show called Australian Top UFO Cases or something, I don't know. Or the rest of Australia's top UFO cases, because we've already done some of them. Tasmania?
Yeah, and look, the Kettering incident comes up again. Yeah, and I'm trying to actually get to the bottom or the kernel of truth in that case is quite difficult, It's not easily found.
I'll post it down the side if you want to have a look at it for next week or whatever and look up more information. This is really bare bones, but which one had the alien eyes in it? You have to do a search.
I do remember one case where there was like tall beings with red eyes, and they were very dark skinned. Actually, they were completely black, as far as the witnesses were concerned.
Oh, here, it's the Kelly Cahill abduction. Didn't we cover that?
Okay, we've covered that as well. Yeah, Kelly Cahill. That was an excellent case. That
bulging red eyes. So what was this one? Was later hospitalized. I think I'm getting too tired, with severe stomach pain, and discovered a triangle-shaped mark near her navel. She would later begin to experience reoccurring dreams and memories of the night. Visions of a number of tall, skinny, shadow-like figures with bulging red eyes, and her...
Yeah, and what was good about her case is she remembered everything from her own memory. It wasn't regression. Wasn't hypnosis. I always find those cases a bit more reliable.
So there's one with red eyes in Australia, and then we got the Kelly Hopkinsville Mothman. Well,
well, they're not exactly the same event, are they?
The Mothman. Well, it's close proximity. Didn't
Mothman was. It's not too far away. Mothman was Silver Bridge, wasn't it? It collapsed. Yeah. But they were more like I don't know if you put that in the supernatural category or the alien category, but we can have a look at the Mothman prophecies. We can definitely do that in the life.
What else we got? Oh, well, that's covered in the Hella series, isn't it? Which is yet to be free. It must be coming up. They're going meant to release it free on YouTube in December.
But we'll just look at the hard facts rather than the dramatized stuff,
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find any other ones with red eyes. Here we go. 2 elongated red eyes. So what's that one? Chupacabra cases. Sounds like it's down South America again. Might be the same case, is it? December 1994. Oh, look at the small writing on that one. So we need to find...
I think the chupacabra thing is a load of horse feathers.
Yeah, maybe. Bloodsuckers. Goat suckers, as it's called.
Oh, you never know. Could be something to it.
So we want red eyes again. Why is it not working? Here we go. So what they're talking about here, red eyes. So it's talking about the chupacabras, is it? Many of the killings are associated with strange creatures called anomalous biological entities, EBEs or ABEs.
Yeah, and you see the chupacabra that came up. I think that predates the case we just looked at today, which is 1996. So you have to take into account that maybe the girls had heard rumours of this chupacabra. They said it was red eyes, and who knows? But there's a lot more to that case than just those 3 girls' statements.
Yes, they could have fabricated it otherwise.
Yeah, but they came back on TV years and years after. I found no evidence had made any money out of this, and they still said they seen the same damn thing.
There we go. We got something in Malaysia here with red eyes. 3 jaw-dropping UFO sightings. Really? And we've got something popping up here. So, does it summarise it good here?
Oh, I know that case.
But you notice it's 1995 as well here. It's all around about the same year with the red eyes.
But I'm sure that was in the States. The one with the pier there.
Don't know, it looks pretty bad video. So what is that? What's it say there?
I think that's the thing being broken down. That's been put through a few filters there, hasn't it?
Looks like a recording of a security camera or something.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. It's a mess though, isn't it?
Yeah.
2002 apparently. I don't even know how to say that.
Kinabalu. Well, it's got to be Africa, isn't it?
That's it. It's going to be Malaysia.
Could be.
Cigar-like object was described as bigger than a Fokker airliner.
A Fokker. Don't you say that, Paul.
Yeah, you better not say it.
You'll make a mess of it.
I will this time of night. My eyes are gone.
That's what I was thinking.
One of the witnesses claimed the UFO ascended from the direction of the sea. There you go. We got a USO. It flew over the airport's terminal. How about that? So that must be on security cameras. The other footage up above. Typical Spud Cam day, right? That's the best UFO ever flying out the sea, and that's the shit video we got in 1995, wasn't it? So I know 2002.
Looks like Frank Sinatra's hat.
You're looking at that there, but I think this is the object here they're talking about here. Looks interesting case though. Don't know if you can find any information out on that one.
I think it was a 2 witness or 2 to 4 witness sighting, you know.
Object was never
just
provided.
The same one.
So that sounds like an interesting case here because there's no official explanation. It was believed that it was not the first UFO sighting in the skies the year, with some claiming of 4 other sightings during a 7-year period leading up to the October incident. That was 2002.
Right.
Well, I never heard. Where's the one with the red eyes though? It must be this one, 2016. A spaceship-like object was seen circling above a remotely located village. Locals were terrified. UFO caught video resembles spaceships often seen in mainstream science fiction movies. And not surprisingly, local authorities were quick to rubbish the sighting. So where's the picture? Is that it here? That's a big mothership if it is.
I don't know, it looks a little bit of lens flare, something there, doesn't it?
I don't know, it looks like it's behind the tree.
Some kind of reflection.
I think they're talking about this object here. The whole thing is the UFO.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
It's got something underneath. Could it be like a blimp or something? I don't know.
No, but it's an awful mess. It almost looks like a shadow.
I don't know. Is that the sun breaking through the clouds there? But what is this here then in that case?
I don't know.
Or is that a UFO that direction on the angle? I don't know. I haven't heard of this one before, so I suppose I should give you the link to it. Malaysia. Perhaps you could find out more on it and present it. Maybe there's something there. A bundle of cases you could do in one thing.
Yeah.
Certainly very vague information here though. Whether that's a real picture, it doesn't sort of say anything here. Credit is all we've got. So where are the red eyes? I didn't see any red eyes listed there. Oh, here we go. So what's this one here? 95? A year before the South American one. A football field as tall as a building, flashing red, green and yellow lights in circular motion become the talk of the town. News of the sighting spread like wildfire, and even reporters were assigned to investigate the claim. Those who saw it firsthand reported a powerful bright light hovering, then landing in a nearby jungle, never to re-emerge. So where did it go to? Villagers even claimed to catch sight of the occupants of the flying object, describing the aliens as being standing at 60 centimeters tall. What's that in feet?
Not a lot.
Supporting red eyes and long ears. What does that sound like?
Kelly. It's Kelly all over again.
It's those damn goblins again. If it was alleged that these authorities did not have the resources to investigate the site, and since no damage or loss of life was reported, no formal investigation. So just forget about it, everybody. Go back to your jobs.
Yeah.
Although this has soon become a cold case, it did spark interest in the study of UFOs in Malaysia. So there you go. That's where it kicked off, 1995. That's a good one. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think on those ones?
Yes, that was 60 centimeters. Did you say, Paul?
Yeah, you can type it into Google. 60.
Yeah, I've just done it now. It's just 2 feet. It's just a fraction under 2 feet. Oh Jesus!
Yeah, just under 2 feet. But yeah, that was just a search, and we got sidetracked. But we're looking at aliens for red eyes. So we've got what, 3 cases now? So yeah. What else we got? Anything else here?
Well, I've got quite a bit to do over the over the Christmas period. Like, I don't think we'll be disturbed, will we, Paul?
No,
next Saturday we'll go on as normal, and I think the next Saturday will fall between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. So all's good. We can carry on.
The weekends are couple of days before and after, aren't they? So
yeah. So
when's the 1st of June?
what I was thinking of doing is, I know there was a good sighting of a Christmas UFO, so I was thinking of doing that as a Christmas episode, maybe for next week.
Yeah, I didn't actually put my Christmas tree up for our episode. You forgot to remind me.
I've just remembered that I put mine up as well.
Someone was complaining about the lights. Looks like it's put it on the wrong side. There we go, got some Christmas decorations to end it. Yeah, someone didn't like my Christmas tree, and saying it was driving her crazy, but she was not very friendly anyway. So what's wrong with that Christmas tree? Is it too much snow on it? So I suppose we could change the options. What's it say there? Stars? Garland, whatever that is. What's the stars do? Oh, there, it gets all rid of the flashing. That's probably a wee bit better, it's less annoying. We could put the tree there, you see. Over Christmas period. That looks pretty cool. I wanted one where it had a little alien that sort of climbed up the tree or something. Need some clever coders out there to make one for the Out There channel. Mind you, it might be infected with Trojans and viruses to bring down the channel. So what's the calendar for January then? What day does it fall on? New Zealand. Oh, it falls middle...
I don't know, maybe Google ban us from promoting Christmas, who knows?
So yeah, you're right. New Year's falls smack in the middle of the week too, so we should be right for our live streams for the weekends. Hopefully more people show up and join in, especially if it's a holiday period. So yeah.
Oh, they could be preoccupied, so it could be a quiet one, but people can listen back anyway.
So, tall black bearings and alien abduction. What's that one there? Hybrids Rising. Sounds like a book. Except for the sort of been edited out. So what's all this about? The tall blacks have physical characteristics which are not unlike hybrid greys. I've never heard of tall blacks before.
I have.
It's not like the All Blacks of New Zealand, which play rugby, but the tall blacks. I suppose that's a banned word, is it? We don't know how Google's going to just change all their policies for hate speech. And you're probably just going to get wrongly flagged now for any word you say. So let's just read out this thing about tall blacks then. Who are they?
The tall blacks have physical characteristics which are not unlike hybrid greys, but their coloration is like that of the black mantis insectoid beings. Our team believes it is plausible the tall blacks are a hybrid version of the black mantises who we have placed at the top of the overall hierarchy. We also suspect both types of beings contain or are aided by human DNA. You might notice the reptilians appear last, or at the bottom of our menu here at Hybrids Rising, and this was done because we view the hierarchy of these beings as falling within a Mobius, where the reptilians are actually next to the mantis insectoids. Of course, this is impossible to graphically demonstrate using a pull-down menu. As you will learn from the accounts we provide in this document, the heights of the tall blacks vary, and although they appear to sometimes arrange themselves in a height-based hierarchy, we believe the shorter beings only have a lesser status due to their height, and or because of their age, that is, not being fully mature.
Yeah, so I was just seeing where the red eyes was, but it's the case we already looked at. Black mantis, I've not heard of that term before either, have you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The mantis insectoid type beings, yeah. See, there's no one category for these guys. Like, people see all kinds of things which it makes you think, are we being visited by more than one species? I think that's probable.
Well, they got them here with the superhero.
Are they projecting an image, which I think is possible? Yeah, well, these are just insects you're bringing up now, Paul.
Yeah, Black Mantis as a character, sci-fi character.
I think maybe if you typed in Black Mantis aliens, you might get different results.
Yeah. Not really.
Yeah.
Not that good. Alien abduction, Mantis.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what some people have described. And if they're not making it up, God only help them.
Yes, people who claim. Let's have a look at that.
Couldn't have been a very nice experience, could it?
Yeah. I suppose we better wrap up in a minute, but what do people say down the side? Vice. We asked people who claimed they were abducted by aliens to draw their experience. So we got some pictures to look at. So how often do we see 3 aliens at the foot of the bed? Seems like a common thing. Except for mine was only 2 aliens in my dream. One the other side of me. But there could have been a third lurking, I suppose. So what else we got? A triangle over a house. That's not actually drawing beings. That one's got 5 around it. There's no escaping those ones with that many people on you. Or aliens, I should say.
Oh dear.
Yeah, what else we got?
Looks ominous.
What do you remember happening to you? I'll just have a read of something, I suppose. I know we got sidetracked, but it's the end of the night, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Emily, I was 17 and my boyfriend spent the night at my house. My mother allowed us to sleep in the living room that night, which my father would never have, but he was away working a night shift. The 3 of us spent the evening chatting in the living room. At some point, I began to hear a repeated thump, which my mother and boyfriend couldn't hear.
So yeah, they're pretty lenient having boyfriends sleep over.
We all went to bed around midnight. The noises first got more intense, and then muffled. My boyfriend heard nothing and fell asleep instantly. I was terrified. It felt like time had stopped around us. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I saw several small, hooded creatures circling the bed. I couldn't see their faces.
Yeah, it sounds almost like monks. Paranormal rather than aliens, but...
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little story now, Paul.
Right.
I had some... you know that image you had there of like ghosty people, like shamans coming in, like hanging over. Well, there was a guy who died. His ulcers burst. It was on Christmas time.
Right.
And they couldn't get. He hadn't taken his medication for a few days. You see, he'd been staying away from home, and he thought he'd be okay without his medication, and he wasn't. And his ulcers burst, and he died. And I spoke to 2 people who were in the same room as him. They said these like shadow people they were like hooded.
Right.
And they came and they took him away.
Right.
And that's the only way they described it to me. And the funny thing with this, they said that these people who came to take him away didn't look too pleasant at all.
Right.
Now, this guy that had actually died of the burst ulcers was guilty of a murder. He was never convicted of it, but we all know in this town he was guilty.
Right.
That's quite scary. As it didn't have shit the hell up to the people that seen it.
Right.
There we go. That's exactly what they described. Only they were darker. They were shadowy.
You're a wee bit behind me now, are you?
Okay.
Are you watching YouTube or are you watching...
You're on the right spot now.
No, I think you're watching...
That's just what they were describing.
I think you're watching YouTube and not the direct feed.
Oh, hell, no. Damn it, you had that on YouTube there.
No. I got it on a webpage, so I was looking at.
Yeah, well, it was those reddish beings that
I just scrolled down probably 5 minutes ago from there, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
Miriam, it happened in 1987, while I was holidaying in a chalet in Chamonix, in the French Alps. Right before I fell asleep, I heard a clicking sound. When I woke up, I saw that the skylight in the roof above me had opened up and a cord had come down from the sky. Through it. It was connected to my genitals. 2 small beings floated around the cord. The only part I could move was my eyes, and didn't understand anything about what was going on.
That's one hell of a dream if that's not true. A cord.
God, I need a beer.
Strung up by your balls. Oh no, we're going to be censored now. Oh well.
I wasn't used to that feeling. I'm a computer scientist and very passionate about astronomy. I'm a member of the Astronautical Commission of the Aero Club of France, the French Aviation Society. I'm used to understanding space phenomena, or at least parts of it. I didn't understand anything about this.
Sounds almost like kinky aliens, sir. I'm a computer scientist. This doesn't normally happen to us computer scientists. That's hilarious, but anyway. Yeah, talking about Dolan and the guest he had on this week, Chris, what's his name?
Oh, Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. He was talking about his dog suddenly burst bleeding out the neck when he was talking about something. I can't remember now what it was.
Yeah, and Grant Canavan was there.
Yeah. Who Dolan said is a top-notch guy and only tells the truth and all that sort of stuff on the show, but...
the guy's a buffoon.
Dolan or Grant?
Both of them.
You used to be a Dolan fan once upon a time, but...
I tell you what, in 2010, Dolan isn't Dolan he is today.
You reckon he's been abducted by aliens and replaced?
Do you know what? I get that impression. Either that or it's love.
He's a disinformation agent now.
That can do some funny things as well.
Yes, his Fenbot. I think Shelley said, what did you say? I think it was you that mentioned about Dolan's wife. Trophy wife.
JC.
Yeah, I think, was it Shelley that said she was a trophy wife?
Well, there's a lot of people said that. There's a lot of people lost faith in him now, you know, Paul. On the groups I'm on now, there's nobody even sticking up for Dolan anymore, you know.
I don't think even Il does. Il from
I've seen some derogatory stuff about it recently, and nobody's taking his side, unfortunately, and that's a shame.
They didn't like this Chris interview, by the sounds of it. And
no, and he's done 4 episodes with the guy.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know Martin Willis would have kicked him off after 10 minutes?
Yeah, there's a lot of claims he was making. That wasn't part of the initial sighting. He was talking about stuff that happened after.
He's holding a lot back because it's going to be part of a book or something, you know, which is highly suspect.
Well, but I made a comment. I'm not sure if it was on his thing. I said, I mentioned it somewhere. It might be on Discord or somewhere. But I said, yeah, you know, because my dog has ulcers. He has these tumours all around him, which are full of fluid, and they could quite easily pop and bleed, right? Especially if you get one on the neck. When they get bangs and knocks, they have these tumours, fatty tumours that keep on growing. And
yes, they do, yeah.
And they just end up filling up with fluid and blood and fluid. So I reckon it was something like that. His lab had something on the neck they didn't know about, and it just simply popped and started bleeding, right? And he was saying he put his hand over it saying, please God, heal the dog. And when he looked, there was no wound or anything there. But I think you'll find that there probably was something there, but it was just hidden under the fur that he didn't see or something, probably from the blood or whatever. But yeah, the guy's very religious.
Either that or it was all made up.
Yeah, he reckons he was given the power from the aliens to heal people. So yeah, to me, that's sort of where I sort of lost interest. And of course, he's repeated that story over and over again on every show that he's been on. UFO News Network had him on, and I just thought it was just rubbish. But
yeah,
I reckon
I know.
But the original sighting of the
I've been talking to Frank and the other girl. It's not Sasha Christie, is it? It's the
Chant.
Oh damn it! Chantana. Yes, I was talking to her recently, and she posted me that show of Bledsoe on her show, and she lends him no credibility whatsoever either.
No. But at the time of the incident, the original incident sounded like it may have been real, but since then, I think he just embellished the story. But
that's what happened.
Yeah, but he says he never made any money from it, but now he's writing a book apparently, and now he's selling it as a movie as well, movie rights. So,
man.
So he'll make millions. He'll make millions out of it probably, but yeah, I don't think. I think the MUFON investigated it, and they said he failed the lie detector test, but that's not conclusive, though, is it?
No, it's not.
Travis Walton, they say he never failed any lie detector tests, but he actually failed 3 lie detector tests, but they covered it up.
One of them was on live television, for God's sake, so don't say he's never failed one. It's on live television.
No. He just sits in the chair and listens to the show. He wasn't actually hooked up to the machine on the show. They do it before the show, and then they read out the questions and say whether he passed them or not on the show and see the reactions, right? But
okay.
Yeah, normally
he still got $25,000 for it.
Yeah, he still did pretty well. And of course, you got to remember he probably got a couple $1 million, well, at least $1 million for selling his movie script, movie, or whatever you call it, rights to the movie company, and that would have been worth, back in those days, it would have been worth $3 million today, right? So.
There's some parts about the Travis Walton case that I'm still not 100% sure on. I'm not really sure how that many people have kept the story together over such a long period of time.
Well, yeah, so, I was going to cover it.
I'm very dubious about him as well.
I was going to cover it. I was going to cover it in details.
Stronger opinions, yeah.
I was going to cover it in details, but I thought maybe I won't, because there'll be a backlash because everybody likes the Travis Walton story. But there are a lot of stuff that people haven't heard about the Travis Walton story, which makes it really suspect, But anyway, there was even one of the guys in the truck said he thought it was a deer stalker hunt with spotlights on it, and so there's all sorts of things like that people don't know about. Because Travis Walton was sick all day and he was meant to be back at the truck, so he had plenty of time to go away and set up some sort of stage event, as far as I'm concerned. And didn't they take a different route home to what they normally do?
It wasn't just that. It was when Travis, found his way to a phone box in his mum's home, and they didn't even inform the authorities that he was alive and well. It was almost as if they were getting a story together before they informed anyone that he was there and he was found. And they conveniently dropped him off near the phone box as well. Nice aliens.
Yeah, right. So normally they drop you back where they abduct you from, because that's what you do if you did it with humans. Like if they abducted that gorilla, they would drop it back into the jungle or close proximity to the jungle. So how far away was the shot to the abduction point? I don't know.
Well, I mean, unlike Stan from Case's Wales abduction experience, where he was dropped on the balcony of his flat and couldn't even get in. So they put him back close, but he still couldn't get back in. He had to actually knock the door to get his wife up to come for him, to let him in, which must have taken a bit of explaining.
So they're saying they used to like Linda Moulton Howe. I was always a bit unsure about her, but I did watch the documentary about the cattle mutilation, and I thought it was pretty good. But when you hear Chris O'Brien about her now, that she makes far out speculations and believes everything she's told and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there was a bit of.
I think what's happened with Linda Moulton Howe, she's been the victim of a hell of a lot of disinformation, and what she's doing, unfortunately, she's putting speculation out as fact, and I'm afraid that's a crime.
Yeah, and of course,
it's not doing ufology any favours.
She believes the eyewitness accounts, pretty much the ones that she hears, about the pyramid under Alaska and Stargate to
this
Mars.
Happens to a lot of people that get into ufology that they maybe have one sighting, and then all of a sudden they start seeing aliens and UFOs and everywhere they go. We don't keep their feet on the ground. I mean, Betty Hill went a little bit that way after her abduction case, which I believe is a genuine case. But after that, everything she's seen in the sky was a UFO.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate some people go that way.
So we did cover that one in one of your lives, didn't we? What did we call it now?
Sure.
The New York Bridge case, or whatever it's called? Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, that was the Linda Corteil case, Brooklyn Bridge, yes.
She was the one that sort of made up stuff after. So we think anyway.
Yeah. It's what seemed to be a genuine story was embellished over time. Absolutely, the Corteil case. Yeah,
because we got a new member.
Hopkins went along with it.
Yeah, we got a new member to Discord who put out a video saying that Dr. Jacobs misled people in hypnosis. What do you call it?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Leading questions.
Leading questions, that's what the word, yeah. I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah, it's hard to know because he's got a lot of cases and he writes a book and brings it out after that, doesn't he? And sells a book. Like recently he's just created a book talking about his abduction experiences while researching. With Hastings that we covered last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult field to be in, to be honest, because there's so much BS out there. And, finding a wheat from the chaff is a very difficult process. And I think you've got to be in the game quite a long time and have a critical mind before you can actually see what's actually going on.
That's the cowboy, Daryl Sims. He reckons you should keep a shotgun underneath your bed in case the aliens come. But I think you get paralyzed, you ain't going to have a chance to grab a gun. Maybe if you're over violent, maybe they give up abducting. Why did they give up abducting him? What was his story, do you know?
I've seen it before. I know I've seen it before. And I didn't have an opinion.
Maybe
we can look into that again.
Well, I don't know. We could look into his case, I suppose. Like I said, we could do a collection of smaller cases on this sort of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes we can do 4 to 6 cases, and other times maybe just the 1 or the 2. That need more coverage.
I tell you what, it's just so much you can do there's just so much out there. You don't need to fabricate or fake anything because there's just so many.
Exactly.
It's just endless endless things to talk about, and but of course everybody's saying that 3-hour streams are no good to them, that they only want 10 minutes. Well, you're never going to learn anything in ufology.
We've done all the talking at the end now, haven't we, Paul? We've got the case through, and what we're talking about now is just, if people enjoy that, then, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so that was what the location was at the start that we looked at. So yeah, we've been talking to another lady called Lily Munster. Hopefully she's going to talk about her experiences. She reckons she's got some photographs, so we'll probably see if we can get her to tell a story, maybe get her even come on live. That would be really good.
She's promised to private message me with that case, and of course I got the other one with Colin Saunders from Leicestershire in the UK. And I've got his video as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we can go through.
So we might have a few more
and
guests on.
Hopefully we can get Colin onto the show.
Yeah, and of course this Lily is in Perth, Australia, I think, or Western Australia anyway. So yeah,
Western Australia, she told me.
So we haven't had too many Australian first-hand stories on the show yet, but maybe that can happen. And we've got Shelley to finish off too, talk about her case. Is she still with us, or has she gone to bed? I know she gets up early in the morning for hospital. So these guys have been talking on the side. What you been up to? You've been saying I'm a load of rubbish on the side. Haven't really been keeping up with it all. Do you think that time period...
what's that about Schneider? What's that about Schneider? Paranoid schizophrenic investigated by the FBI.
Phil Schneider?
Wife says it's bull. Yeah, Phil Schneider, the guy at Dulce Air Force Base with the underground...
we debunked him.
The underground alien fight out, He's an interesting case, that's for sure. How credible he is, I really don't know.
No, I've covered it before. I was going to bring up and search for it, but
that's another thing Dolan has gone out on a limb on and said that Schneider was murdered. No question, he was murdered.
No,
the guy did have mental health issues.
That's right.
So
he had 3 fingers, but the way the autopsy report talked about it was he wrapped it 3 times around his neck and tucked it down the front. And it was like that spongy type pipe that they use for blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, when you hang yourself with that, it's just going to gradually get tighter without having to tie a knot because you've got it wrapped around. But like how you do fishing hooks, right? So, yeah, but I've covered Phil Schneider and I played a few clips from another video which talked about the FBI records on him.
Okay, I must go bathroom, Paul.
Righto. So I'll just go through the comments here. They state he self-harmed, that's right. I've been looking into the Linda Moulton Howe Trantoiloids. This is a thing I've not read. I've been hacked badly for the past decade. Yeah, well, if you can get yourself a new device to come on Jitsi, we can bring you back on to talk about all the other stuff that we didn't talk about with your particular case, and see some drawings from you, hopefully. I still haven't seen you post any up on Discord yet. Carefully not to have any platypus inferences. Cannot believe he had the credibility he had. Dolan become unbelievable. Yeah, I think he's like all big UFO channels, they play it safe so they don't lose subs, and each sub is watching is another cash in the bank, right? She's a great man, possibly had been taken in by some. Yeah, I don't know if she was really a great reporter. They say she was. I just don't know. My mate reckons she was average at best, so not too sure what he's read, but he might have read something about her and seen some of her early work where she made conclusions even back then.
Yeah, Grant Cameron is a never believer of anything. Well, yeah, unfortunately, that's the way a lot of UFO people go.
Murder by suicide. I wish I saw your debunk. Yeah, you should be able to find it. I'll see if I can bring up the browser again. See if I can find it for you. So you just go to my channel. As you know, you can search my videos for a word in the title with the hourglass, which comes up next. Yeah, and type in Phil, I suppose, or his last name probably. Should search the title, and I think it might be description as well, but we'll see. Google keeps playing around with it, so it doesn't always come out good. Here we go. Phil Schneider lied. Grand Canyon UAPS. So it's that one there by the looks of it. I didn't really have a good thumbnail for it by the looks of it. I was probably lazy that day. So yeah, I'll just copy That one for you. Copy address. I think I got it. Sometimes I don't trust the copy function here. Fill. Debunk. Apparently he had access to radioactive material and he was handing it around on his conferences, this so-called metal which was meant to be radioactive. So it might actually kill some people in the audience that got cancers even by handling it. So maybe the people there, looks like I spelled his name wrong. Phil, H is next to G. See how you go with that one. Always check the description. It gives you a rough idea whereabouts in the 3-hour stream it is. You can see that Google doesn't like me playing my own videos. But yeah, if you go to topics, it should give you an idea whereabouts it is. If I've got it in there. I need to look at information about Phil, so looks like it's near the end here, where I don't know, because we don't figure out the minutes. If you had a lot of helpers, people go through that and sort of work out the minutes where you talked about your topics and help out, you see. We could put the minutes next to it and even have click links, you know.
Isn't there an application that you can get, if you type it in, it can go straight to the name?
Yeah, you can search here, like I've shown you, with the open
Okay, sorry, I didn't know you'd done that.
No, I haven't done it, but you can do that and then do Control F. And then you can search for the word Phil, where his name's mentioned. It should get roughly your location where you start talking about him anyway. Mm-hmm. All these little tricks you got to learn, right? So Control F, type in Phil there. I'll probably pick up Phils everywhere till you get to the transcript, hopefully. There we go. So it's 121 minutes, and then you can just double click on that and it takes you to where it is in the video.
Cool.
So I don't think we've got any sound on it. Why's the sound died?
Careful now playing your own video back, Paul. You might get a copyright strike.
It's going to press the wrong location. Yeah, it could do. Especially if it's got the claim in it as well, you see. So it must be here. I'll talk about it somewhere. But why I can't hear it, I don't know. Which one's the speaker? That one? Can't really see the icon for the speaker. Should be there. The plug-in one. No, it's not that. That's annoying. It's not coming up. Maybe if I pause it. What was that there? Oh, right. Talking about the Terminator. Anyway, it does work. Maybe I said it's Phil Schneider coming up, probably. Probably have to search the next one. Where's that come up? We'll look at Phil Schneider, some interesting stuff. So yeah, looks like I'm talking about it there. Here we go, Phil Schneider. So I found this post here about him. So it's a couple minutes on. I think I play a video also of him, and it talks about freedom of information. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, just watch it from there onwards. I'm not sure why the sound's not working though. The plugins should have been coming up. No, it's not that one. Must be there, is it? Icon's invisible. Doesn't make any sense. Should be there. Natural reader. Should be there right after that one. That's kind of weird. Maybe I have to reload it. Not too sure why it's playing up. What's that there? Not that one. There it comes. Now it's playing.
An autopsy was performed at the Multnomah County Medical Examiner's office in Portland, Oregon by Dr. Gunson, and she determined that Philip had committed suicide by wrapping a rubber catheter hose 3 times around his neck and half knotting in front. The late Gab Valdez, who was the state patrol officer in charge of the Dulce area for many years, also stated that Schneider's death was a suicide after examining the autopsy report.
So yeah, there you go. So that's how you do it. Hopefully you can do it on your iPad, because I'm using Windows 10 here and Chrome browser. Well, actually Brave. It's a lot faster than Chrome, but it has a few issues. Like it doesn't give you notifications for Facebook very well. So maybe it'll get fixed in...
But I've solved a lot of my lag on Chrome, you know, Paul. It was in the advanced settings, turn off hardware acceleration.
I
turned that off, and my God, it's been a revelation since then.
Yeah, I've turned all that off on all my browsers because it used to cause problems, even on this new laptop.
Yeah, it does cause massive issues, and it's on by default, which most people don't know.
Aliens and humans, we got to sign off now because getting 4:30 a.m. here.
So I'm starving.
Yeah, I'll probably have a snack before I go to bed, but
hell yeah.
Please like and share. We actually had a few people watching tonight, which is good. So we're getting more and more people watching, even though we get a lot of haters from time to time.
Watch the downloads later when it goes to an American audience.
Because it gets some haters from security team that won't believe that the guy's a fraud. But if you've not heard, he was actually in prison, jail, for drunk driving or drugs, and it's not too clear about the thing. So
I couldn't bring that up.
He spent 3 days in jail, but I'll cover that on Sunday. I'll show you the post and people can have a read of it themselves. Definitely sounds like him anyway, but people have been wondering why he's been depressed. It might be because of that. He was thinking of the up-and-coming court case where he'd go to jail for 3 months, but it looks like he got off lightly and only spent 3 days in. But yeah, it sounds like it's the right one in the right place. A lot of people are talking about it online at the moment, so yeah. Things catch up, But yeah, shame on him for drinking and driving, though. That's a really bad thing to do. A lot of people can lose their life over that. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again Sunday, maybe, if you're around.
Thank you.
And we'll see you also the following weekend, hopefully. And is it not Xmas then, either? Is that not playing?
No.
Is that not playing? Why is it not playing? Let me just sort this out. Here we go. Should be playing. New Zealand anthem. Yeah, good night.